he has energy, and I think he's accomplished enough to where he could convince Woody Johnson to trust him. Woody Johnson loves to call the shots, override the people he hires to make football decisions. I mean, if you saw the Athletic article that was released about a month ago, there's reports in there that Woody Johnson and his son are using Madden ratings to judge players and said no thanks to Jerry Jeudy because his Madden rating was too low. The Jets are so far off the deep end. They need somebody to bring them back. And I think Pete Carroll's previous success, number one, having a Super Bowl victory, number two, can help convince Woody Johnson, if you hire me, Woody, I will get this organization back on track if you let me do my job. Robert Saleh did not have a leg to stand on to where if he talked back to Woody, he'd get in trouble. Adam Gase, same thing. Todd Bowles, same thing. The Jets have hired a lot of, how do I say this, loser coaches with no gravitas in the league. Pete Carroll's got it. He's got that pedigree that I think Woody would listen to. I think it would work. When you talk about fit, Alex, I think Pete Carroll is the best fit for the New York Jets.
All right, moving on. Who do you think is the best fit for the New Orleans Saints?
I think it's Mike McCarthy. I'm not a big Mike McCarthy guy in the sense of I don't think he's a good coach to win you a Super Bowl or win you playoff games. But I think what he brings to New Orleans is stability and competency. I think he'd be a great bridge coach. That's what New Orleans needs. They need a bridge. They are right now in the worst cap situation in all the NFL. They are dead last. They are, right now as we sit here for 2025, $71 million over.
We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you this special presentation from Wildcats Radio 1290. Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball begins with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're counting down to tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Spin move in the lane, squeezes through two defenders, puts it up, and scores it. Tobe Owaka 3 for 3 to open up. Hands it to Darius Johnson, 8 to shoot. Backs it up, lost the ball. Knocked away by KJ Lewis on a breakaway. KJ will slam it home with two hands. High left, it goes to Love. Bounce pass back to Walker, driving for the bucket and slams it home.
Over the 7-2, Tiam.
Step back now. He'll take the shot out there and put it down for three. Another Lexus of Tucson charity three. Third of the night for Caleb Love. Love drives free throw line, kick it back. Carter Bryant for three. It's up, in and out, no good. Follow jam is good by Henry Basar. KJ to the free throw line, out to Del Orso for three. Got it.
Set call, all for Del Orso to float to the right, weak side three.
Delhi with a big second half, 80-65 Arizona. Wildcats will inbound it, and there's the horn. And the Wildcats take it by a final score of 88-80. They go to 10-5 on the season. And the second half of the homestand coming up on Tuesday when Baylor comes to town.
Catch you a body walk. We already got catch you a body hen. Now we might have to add catch you a body walk after the big fella went dunking over a 7-footer. He's got a challenge along those lines tonight here in Tucson. It is basketball night in Arizona. The Wildcats undefeated in conference play at 4-0, welcoming in the 3-1 but number 25 ranked Baylor Bears tonight for a 9 o'clock tip-off at McHale Center in the Big 12 Conference on national television, ESPN, the main network. John Shiambi, the great baseball broadcaster, and Jay Williams will be on the call for the main network tonight on TV. Of course, you'll hear it right here on Wildcats Radio 1290, as well as if you flip over to FM K-Hit 107.5 with Brian Jeffries and Ryan Hansen. They will take over from us in exactly a little under now 3 hours at 8:30. Ooh, late tip tonight. Late tip. Are you going to the game? Did you give away your tickets tonight? Because it is a 9 o'clock start. This is the first of at least two more 9 o'clock starts that are on the roster. The Wildcats will play a 9 o'clock game at BYU on February the 4th. I believe that is an early midweek game. I believe that's a Tuesday night. Then they will play a 9 o'clock game here at home, the final game, senior night. Oh, my gosh. I think they're going to have to do senior night before the game when ASU comes to town on March the 4th, because that is a 9 o'clock game as well. There'll be some 8s in there. There might be 3 8s in there coming up. Texas Tech at home. We don't have a time on that BYU game here at home. That could be as late as 8. At Baylor is going to be an 8 o'clock game. And so that's what you got as we get to the second half. 8:30 coming up later this month when the next homestand comes around for the Iowa State game. That is also I believe that's a Monday night game coming up later this month. In fact, it is January the 27th. That'll be a week from this coming Monday night. That'll be an 8:30 start. So get ready to stay up late, get your coffee in, you can go to dinner, you can go nice, you don't have to rush your dinner. Go to get a casual dinner in before these games, because they are coming up, and they're coming up later than we'd like. All right, we are joined as always by the captain, Calvin Ifan, 1998. J.W. Madden is here as well, Arizona and Baylor. Let's let you know what we've got coming up for you today on our show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we'll review what happened against Central Florida. You heard some of the good stuff that happened. We'll dive into the good stuff first because, again, it was a win, a 6th win in a row, 88-80 on Saturday night. Now, unless you've been sleeping under a rock, that Tommy Lloyd kind of blew his stack after the game. We'll get into that as well coming up on our show today. We'll take our first look at the Baylor Bears. That is brought to you by Window Depot. Spotlight on a cat. Anthony Del Orso hit a couple of big threes in that second half and got loud and proud after that second one. Kind of reminded me a little bit of another number 3 that we've seen play here the last couple of years, knocking down 3-point shots. John Morris, the voice of the Baylor Bears, will have your scouting report tonight. We'll find out a little bit about this 25th ranked team that's coming in here. Best bets over at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook right now. Arizona enters tonight as a 5.5-point favorite. The over-under on this one sits at 147.5. DK right now sitting in the lead at +6 on the season on our best bets. Arizona, though, knocks off Central Florida in the first ever meeting between the two schools. Again, I mentioned Tommy Lloyd blew his stack after the game. Was not happy. Hey, we won the game, Tommy said, but we did not play very well down the stretch.
Frustrating. I mean, we come out and get off to a great start. I thought our energy was good. I thought the defense was okay. Offensively, I thought we were clicking. And then, it's like we get a little bit of a lead, and you go back, and if you watch possession by possession, it's just like, are we really making the best play for the team? When we've struggled this year, we haven't made the best play for the team. When we've been good, we've made the best play for the team. It's really not complicated. And I think that's probably almost all teams across the board. So we got to be better. We got to be better in those moments. We got to be better in that first half. Not that I expect a 14-point lead to turn to 28, to turn to 56. I don't expect that. But I expect it to be better. And we weren't better. But we responded. We found a way. We won a tough conference game at home against a formidable opponent.
Yeah, a 6th straight win. Wildcats in this streak shooting 53% from the floor, holding opponents to to 37%. Opponents during this 6-game stretch shooting just 28% from three. I had a chance when I went back and kind of reviewed the tape, and a lot of the times, again, for me, when I go to these games, I usually tend to miss the final 7-8 minutes of the game because I'm coming back from the arena. And so I really hadn't had a chance to see much of what transpired at the end of that game last week or last Saturday night. But what I saw when I went back and watched it was, guys, a lot of what I've seen and a lot of what's concerned me. Just dumb passes, trying to make a skip pass through 10 people in the lane to a guy cutting at the baseline, and just not smart decisions with the basketball. To me, that's the thing that ultimately, if this team comes apart, it's going to be because at times they don't make smart decisions. And then I'll go back to stuff we talked about in week 1. Guys like not knowing where they are on the floor, standing out of bounds, being on the line. I mean, that those types of things. I mean, we talked about that in week 1. Week 1. That should not be happening in, what are we now, week 10 or 11 or 12? Those types of things, standing on the line, being out of bounds,
I mean, DK,
that should not be happening in week 12.
That talks about in week 1 of junior high school. This is not like week 1 of the college basketball. I mean, the issue with the close was not that they had turnovers. It was the type of turnovers. Like, they got one turnover from running the baseline when the ball went over the backboard. Can't run the baseline unless it's after a made basket. So that's just not understanding time, place, what's going on. Another turnover happened when you said Awaka was on the baseline on a catch. And the third turnover, these are all under 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to go. The third turnover was also a travel on the catch. We talked about Caleb bringing the ball over half court and picking up his dribble right over the half court line next to the sideline. A big no-no. So it's just mental errors down the stretch, guys. Kelvin.
And falling down. I mean,
as a coach, Kelvin, when you see players, I mean, especially at this level, obviously nobody's going to be perfect. Things happen. And those are correctable mistakes and just straight up mental errors.
And that's the reason why he's sounding off. He's trying to figure out what's the next best way to get to the guys. Let me call you out in public now and say that, look, guys, you know better than that. Don't make dumb plays to make yourself look like that. We teach you better than that. Not to pick the ball up, as you guys said, 8th grade, first practice, not to pick the ball up in the corner coming across half court, right? Because now you got the corner and the half court, all the extra defenders. So I just think it's a thing of where a coach gets frustrated when you actually have the talent to go far. And you don't want those little things to end up hurting you and losing games that you shouldn't lose. And that's what the frustration that you hear. He believed in those guys. Because if you didn't believe, right, you will have a Cronin type situation because you're like, they're not tough enough.
Well,
but that's not what he's saying.
It's funny you bring up Cronin because this is not in a vacuum, guys. We literally just saw the UCLA game. When was that? That was on the 14th of December. So 1 month ago today, Arizona had a 14-point lead, 9 minutes to go, didn't score a field goal down the stretch. Didn't score a field goal in the last 9 minutes, turned the ball over five times in the last 9 minutes, and took some bad shots in that stretch, Kelvin. So the coaching staff, when Coach Lloyd said there in that post game after UCF, we've drilled it, box outs, it's because they've just been through a very winnable game against the Bruins in Phoenix, where they had a big lead, 13-point lead, 9 minutes to go. Bruins came back because Arizona just made some. So obviously they get the win versus the Knights this last game out. However, those same mistakes and just mistakes that you don't need to be making, Kelvin. There's no pressure on running the base. When you can't run the baseline and you do, and that's a turnover under 2 minutes, that's just not understanding what's going on around you. Very correctable mistakes.
And I'm going to add this right here. I also, I've been talking a little bit, and DK posted about what I say when I'm saying running plays. Of course, you would like to play free where you go and nobody understands what you're running and you're just playing free and guys getting shots, you're scoring. That usually happens versus teams that are not that good, right? When you play against other teams, they're going to try to take that away from you because they know that's what you do well. So now you run the set plays, I believe, because now – you can get guys. You take a point guard like Jaden Bradley or Love. He gets in the center of the court. You call the play and you get that ball to the guy that you want to take the shot. Now your defense is balanced, right, J-Dub? We all know the guy's going to take the shot because we practice this every day, right? So we know the guy's going to take the shot. We know where to rebound from. We know where basically we have to get back from. We know the different plays where we can go back door, whatever it is. But I just believe that will cure a lot of these problems at the end of the game, J-Dub, right? Because now none of these guys are guessing what who's the closer and who's the guy. And some people say, well, if they know who the closer is, they can take it away. And I also could use them as a decoy, right, to get guys open, and use them as a screener to get guys open. And so there's also ways that you can use the plays to make you a better team.
And it's not like they're running Nolan Richardson style. It's not like they're trying to press, 40 minutes. They're trying to push 40 minutes. But I got a question for you guys. Is this similar to a run and gun, run and shoot type of team when they get a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter of a football game and they got to take the air out of the ball, Kelvin, and they're not used to that style of play. So you get up to a 13-point lead, used to this flow offense. Maybe
and guys still trying to shine.
Right.
Guys still trying to shine. I'm going to show I can shoot this three.
Maybe
right?
slow it down
at the wrong time. Right, DK? You seen it at the wrong time, the wrong guy shooting the three, and it's like, no, not now. In between, after the first 4 minutes and the last 4 minutes, we have to control this right here. In between that time right there, you can kind of go for it a little bit. But at the end of the games or whatever, to close games out, you got to be very specific about what you're trying to do.
Toby Waka, 11 points, 5 rebounds in the win over Central Florida. Was running that pick and roll action with Caleb Love. Got a nice jumper, mid-range jumper early. Got the dunk over the 7-footer as well. Toby Waka on his aggressive play early.
Just mainly to stop thinking, stop overthinking. When that tip goes up, just put the blinders on, play as hard as you can. Don't hyper-focus on scout and, the game plan. But, it's basketball at the end of the day, so play freely.
And it wasn't just Toby Awaka who had 11 points, Trey Townsend 9, Carter Bryant 4, Henry Vasar 14 on 5 of 8. Tommy Lloyd just liking the group as a whole of the bigs in the way that they played against Central Florida.
That's how I really look at it. It's like a collective of, you got these 4 guys playing, 2 guys playing the 4, 2 guys playing the 5, and they're being really productive. And that's always been an advantage for us. And it might not be one guy, getting all the glory. It might be a group. And tonight, I thought as a group, those bigs were really productive. I thought Tobe obviously played really well to start, and this was kind of solid in his runs in the game. I thought Henry had some great moments in the game. I thought Carter had, some better moments in the second half. First half wasn't quite as good, So you can't assume because you're playing better the last couple games that you're going to come out and play great. Like, you got to fight for it, and he fought for it a little more in the second half. And then, Trey had a solid night. I think he had a couple of shots rim out. That just really, doesn't happen for him often. But he also had some really good moments. So our 4s and 5s were really impactful as a group. For sure.
Yeah, the 5 position combined between Vasar and Toby, 25 points and 10 rebounds. You like that combination when you when one guy's in there, he's producing. When you bring the other guy in, he's producing.
Yeah, double-double and with 20-point double-double. Of course, you'll take that as a total for one position, especially when you have a guard-centric type of team. So anytime that you can get those type of points and production from those guys, that they're also playing better defense and being more active on that end of the court. So it's always good when your bigs are playing well on the offensive side.
Toby Awaka liked the way that he and Vasar kind of both dominated at the 5 position.
I think when we're both producing on the court at the same time, it's really hard for teams to defend us. If I'm in there, rebounding, doing my deal, and then he comes in, picking and popping, shooting threes, dunking over dudes, like it's really hard to game plan against.
But the flip side was that the Wildcats lost the battle of the boards to Central Florida, 41-40, and they allowed way too many at the offensive end, way too many for Tommy Lloyd.
kicked our ass. I don't know, man, kicked our ass. Relentless. I got to go back and watch the film. I heard there were some good blockouts, but when the assistant coaches are telling you there's some good blockouts, that means there's a lot of really bad blockouts and a few good ones stood out. So we got to get better. And some of these guys playing heavy minutes, it's their job. They don't get to just do what they want to do. Okay, shoot shots they want to shoot, dribble the ball when they want to dribble it, and not rebound. It's not how it works. Not on good teams. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it because that's real. I always tell guys this, man. If you want to play on the offensive side of the court, you have to play on the defensive side of the court. I always tell you guys, you are what position you can guard. So you can't say you are a point guard if you can't guard a point guard.
Wasn't your old college coach the guy who gave the jerseys for the starters to the ones who led the stats in rebounding during practice? Isn't that right? Something like that, Kelvin?
Yeah, he said that's how it was going to go. He said that was how it was going to go.
I just mean, rebounding at every position has always been a priority, right? I mean, if you can't rebound the ball, and Arizona is in the top 20 right now, rebounding margin. This is a very good rebounding team, which is why that Knights team was not a good rebounding team. Hence the disappointment from coach there.
Toby Waka on the domination by Central Florida at the offensive end of the glass.
Well, they were shooting some, wild and contested shots, so you always get sort of the ball bouncing crazy different ways. I think the main thing was that when they were shooting threes, guys were kind of collapsing to box out their mans. But, when a team is shooting threes, the rebound is going to be long. So I feel like that gave UCF, a big opportunity on the boards with us, crashing down and then them getting the easy rebounds.
Now, we talked a little bit about that after the game, and I did go back just to check the numbers, and it wasn't maybe as many as we thought. There were only 6 offensive rebounds that they got off three-point shots. The other ones were off of twos, layups, and missed free throws. So,
and the biggest thing were the 6 by the one big man. So, to me, a little bit what was happening was this. The guys were going to help. The bigs were going to help on the penetrating guys. And you supposed to help the helper is what we call it. So now the next guy got to rotate over and block out the big fella that was getting the 6 offensive rebounds. So that's the guards doing the extra hustle. That's why when you heard Coach talking about guys with the heavy minutes, well, we don't have to guess who those guys are, right? That's the guards that are playing the heavy minutes on this team right now.
And you have to adjust, Kelvin, because you talk about Mo Krivas might not have been a guy who would come off his man. Maybe he wasn't quite as quick-footed to come off his man, maybe travel 8 feet to go challenge a driver. But we've seen Henry Vesar do that quite a bit since he's been more active. So the other players have to adjust to that. No Henry's going to maybe come off his man and try to affect shots around the rim. And you have to make sure that whoever Henry, go get Henry's man. Henry's man needs to be boxed out.
And there's 2 guys I'm going to call out on that for sure, and that's Del Orso and Love. Both of those guys got to get over into that paint, and I'm sure Coach is talking to those guys too. Del Orso has lost minutes early in the year in situations where Coach didn't think that he was, being basically tough enough to be able to play at this level. And then same thing with Love. Sometimes I just think, he's not totally locked in. I think offensively, I give him a lot of leeway, right? Because when you are the go-to guy on the offensive team, you're seeing all type of defense. But on the defensive side of the court, there's no excuse. He's a veteran guy that understands that he should be rotating and helping down, and that's where the situation's happening. With Bradley and KJ Lewis, they're always in there getting those boards. And I'll even say, Love had 8 rebounds in the last game, I do believe. So I can't quite get on him so much as far as numbers are concerned, but at the end of the games, it's those 1 or 2 that you don't get. That you don't get in there and box out.
And guys, look
that
at the
coach is talking about.
Look at the stats on the year. Tobey's got 7, Vesar 4, Krivas 4, Love 4, Townsend 4, KJ Lewis 4, Bradley 3, Bryant 3. I mean, we're talking about rebounding as a group, Kelvin. I mean, that's what the team's done all year long. Those 3-pointers, those 6 3-pointers, DK, that you're talking about, I guarantee you go back and look at those. A couple of those, the guards were leaking out. So if you're worried about your fast breaks, you're worried about getting easy buckets, you got to make sure primarily that you're not allowing those long. Everybody knows 3-pointers lead to long rebounds. So you just have to make sure that you're not cheating and trying to get out in the lanes and running for a fast break before you take care of the defensive board.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats welcoming in number 25 Baylor tonight to McHale Center. 9 p.m. is tip-off time. We've got much more in store for you, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. We'll take our first look at Baylor next. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. The one and only home of Arizona basketball. Pre- and post-game coverage, play-by-play, and live press conferences. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Wildcats again negotiating that full court pressure. Awaka setting the screen. Bradley goes the opposite direction into the lane, lay it up and good. Shades of what he did on the East Coast, driving the lane.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
All right, the Baylor Bears are tonight's opponent. This will be for Arizona and Baylor the 10th time that they have gotten together on the basketball floor. 11th time. The series is tied 5-5 overall, but in the Scott Drew era, the Bears have won the last two of those meetings, and they have that last win right here in Tucson that night that they came in and dominated. Talk about offensive rebounds. Came in and dominated the offensive glass and ended that night, if you'll remember, they ended the Wildcats' 52-game home win streak that night back in 2019.
Kelvin, you knew a little bit about that 2018-2019 Baylor team, right?
Yeah, definitely know a little bit about them. You know, we had a kid from here, Tucson, Lester Medford, went to Amphi, played for Baylor for a couple of years. So that was right after he left, when a lot of guys that was from, right when Baylor was starting to really turn it around and get on the national scene as a contender. And they really get up for games like this. And so that's what U of A have to contend with today.
All right, it is, again, these two teams right next to each other in the Big 12, with the Wildcats sitting in the tied for first place position. Tommy Lloyd, though, again, still trying to get his team to understand what it takes to win every night in this new competitive league.
I mean, they need to be mature competitors. A mature competitor, understand, you're in a really tough conference. It's a 20-game grind. Every game matters. Every win matters. At the end of the season, teams are going to finish how many teams are in the conference? 16. 1 to 16. And every team's going to be able to go back and look at that table and say, man, if we would just played a little better in game 3, we would be of this seed instead of that seed. So the stuff matters. It matters. It matters now. And it's not about an individual player. It's about the team. So that's where we gotta double down on. It's about the team. And every one of these games matters. It's great to be 4-0, but you know what? 4-0 could also be 4 and end up 4-16 if you don't handle it the right way. So we got to handle it the right way.
Scott Drew's club comes in off a win at Arizona State on Saturday night. They took down the Sun Devils 72-66 in overtime. Much like the Wildcats, it was a game in which they had a big lead early in the contest and allowed the Sun Devils to rally. But Drew is welcoming any chance to win on the road, considering that the Bears had been 0-2 away from home going into that game in Tempe.
33% of the Big 12 teams, I think, last year won on the road, and it is so hard to win on the road. And then it's so hard when you're down 2 guys, and 2 guys that play a similar position. I mean, you take anybody and say, take 2 point guards out, take 2 running backs out, 2 quarterbacks out. I mean, so really proud of what the guys were able to accomplish, and hopefully we can get these guys back here soon.
Yeah, this is a team that comes in a little bit shorthanded. Langston Love, their redshirt junior, is down with an injury, as well as Jalen Celestine, who we saw for a number of years up at California. He is also out. We'll get more information on those two coming up here in a moment. But first, let's talk about their main guy, and that is Norchad Omier, 6'7", 244-pound, fifth-year transfer. This is his third school, started at Arkansas State, then went down to Miami and made a name for himself, and now has quickly become the guy in Waco. I mean, he has a double-double, just a double-double machine so far this year. Comes in averaging 16 points and 11 rebounds on the season. Norchad was asked, in terms of rebounding, is it a situation where he just wants the ball more than the other guy?
I've been saying this my whole career. I can't take credit for this. God give me that talent. And you know, that people just keep saying that the hardest part is to get the 10 rebounds every game. I don't think about it. I just go hoop. And like how you say, I want it more. I'm a tougher guy out there, night in, night out. So I just, keep playing, trusting my teammates, trusting the coaches, and, doing whatever it takes to win.
DK, saying he's a double-double machine might be short-selling it a little bit because if you go back and look at his whole career, this is his 5th year.
Yeah.
He's never had a year in college basketball, Kelvin, where he did not average a double-double.
No,
Freshman, 12 and 12. Sophomore, 17 and 12. First junior, 13 and 10. 17 and 10 again at Miami last year. And then this year, 16 and 11. So he's all 5 years in his college career, he's averaged a double-double. I don't think I've ever seen that before, Kelvin. Because most guys who are averaging a double-double as freshmen, they're not sticking around long enough to average a double-double as a 5th-year senior.
Well, but what's happening now, you heard the first school he was at, Arkansas State. That's basically like his JUCO.
Yeah.
Right? He went from there to where?
Miami.
2 years at Arkansas State, 2 years at Miami, and now at Baylor.
Yeah. Right, and that was big time. But Baylor is another level, especially when they had a need of needing a big inside presence to really, have that type of enforcer in the Big 12. So he came in and fed that Rico Gathers. That's an old name for you, right?
Love Rico Gathers.
Big rebounding type of guy, but he didn't have this type of offensive talent that this kid brings to the table.
Well, it's interesting. We've talked for so many years about how it seemed like college basketball was getting really young, and you didn't have a lot of older guys. But now we're starting to see that a little bit more with guys like Caleb Love for us and Norchad Omier on the other end.
Well, that's kind of not true. It was older in the mid-majors. That's how the mid-major teams was beating the U of A teams, right? Because we had the freshmen and the sophomores, and they had the 5th-year, 6th, 7th-year guys, right? And that would beat you up, right? So now what ended up happening was they got tired of getting beat by those older guys. And they said, you know what? We want to go back to having more veteran guys instead of just being an NBA pipeline. Because that's all the teams, even with football sometimes, I think they brag too much about how many guys that they're getting to the NFL. Yes, it's a way of, or even to the NBA. Yes, it's a great way of recruiting and getting guys to want to go to your school, but it's also a lie because all those guys are not going to the NFL or the NBA, right? So I like it now that your guys will have a little bit more incentive to stick around because it's giving us better basketball. Right? And then also the guys are being here 3 and 4 and 5 years. They're actually getting their degrees. They're actually here for the right reasons instead of just to use it as a way to get right to the NBA.
Let me give you some numbers here on Norchad Omier. He is the NCAA active leader in career rebounds, active leader in double-doubles, active leader in rebounding average, 10th active in career points. Is Norchad Omier. What does he mean to this team, Jaden Nunn?
He brings leadership. He has a lot of experience, where we all want to be. He's been to the Final Four and stuff like that, so he brings a lot of leadership. And then on the court, he just play hard. He motivate me just to, go out there and play hard with him, So, yeah, he motivate all of us for sure.
132 career starts.
Ooh.
132 career starts.
What's Caleb's number? Do we know off the top?
I'll look it up really quick. Yeah, but it's up there.
But now I see why Coach was being so adamant and was being so tough at that last press conference because he knew this guy
this guy's coming to town.
So he had to say, listen, he got to rile them boys up a little bit because he know they're gonna have some fight in them to be able to beat these guys. Now I kind of get what it was about.
Caleb's got a little bit more. 146 starts, 152 total. That's those extra Tar Heel NCAA tournament games, I would imagine.
Let me give you some more numbers on this young man. He's 26 rebounds away from becoming the 14th player in NCAA history with 2,000 points and 1,500 rebounds. He's tied for 14th in NCAA history with 76 career double-doubles. J-Dub read off, he's been a double-double every single year of his career. With 2 more, he'll tie 3 players for 11th most in NCAA history, including a guy by the name of Lou Alcindor.
Wow. And 6'7".
Yeah. Wow. So not in the 7-foot guy.
Right. 6'7",
yeah,
but he's probably about 250.
That 250 is doing a lot of work for you, on the rebounding.
So him and Walker, that's going to be the battle of the next offensive tackles in the NFL.
All right, you heard we mentioned that there were some injuries on this roster right now. They only have, well, at least the last game, they only had 7 active players because of the injuries to Jalen Celestine and Langston Love. Let's hear from Scott Drew on where those guys are.
Yeah, both of them are game time decisions, and they're close. So I know injuries are as much mental, physical, everything combined. And when they're ready to go, they're working really hard to get back because they know what the guys are doing shorthanded. So they want to be there to help. So it's definitely sooner rather than later.
These number 2 and 3 scorers on this team, true freshmen in VJ Edgecombe and Robert Wright, who are both averaging 12 points a game this season. Wright talked about what this team does not have when they don't have those 2 talented guards in Celestine and Love off the bench.
Really tough not having them. I mean, Jalen, everybody knows what he brings just with his shot-making ability and then rebounding and defending. And then not having Langston, who plays hard, plays tough, and makes shots. So not having them two is really crucial for us.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough not to have that type of depth when you're like what we've been talking about, playing a gauntlet here in this conference where it is a tough road to win every single night in the Big 12. All right, we'll have more on the Baylor Bears coming up a little bit later.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors Arizona's top rebounding performance every night. It's the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds. Might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. Could be the best rebounder from the other team. We will tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, the post-game show. Much more straight ahead. We'll shine a spotlight on a Wildcat next. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. I'm David Kelly, along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, best price, biggest inventory.
Up to a 30% upfront bonus and 12% per year guaranteed growth for retirement. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and these are the highest guarantees with annuities I have seen in my life. When interest rates are this high, there are silver linings, and annuity guarantees are one of them. Up to a 30% bonus upfront for retirement income. On $100,000, that's up to $42,000 guaranteed in the first year. And it's because of the economy and its high interest rates. Don't let anyone, especially another financial advisor, tell you it's not true. Up to 30% upfront just for opening an account and up to 12% per year guaranteed income growth. Don't miss out. This won't last forever. If you have an old 401k, get up to 30% upfront and 12% guaranteed growth for income today.
Call 321-4100. That's 321-4100.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Do you have hot spots on your floor? Do you hear water running? Did you just receive a high water bill? These are all signs of a water leak. Hi, I'm Jake Cummings. If this sounds familiar, call Cummings Plumbing, Heating and Cooling soon as possible. Water leaks can do a lot of damage. If you're noticing the signs, call us today for a free leak inspection. It's important to find and fix leaks fast. If you got a problem, we'll be there anytime, day or night.
For heating, air, and plumbing, call
Cummins.
RC number 113429.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE Eagle.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Beat high for Love. Left side. Goes to Del Orso. Stops top. Fires a 3. Scores a 3 for Del Orso.
Oh, he wanted that one. Heavy emotion after that make.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
He is the best three-point shooter on the team in terms of percentage. 44% right now, Anthony Del Orso. 25 of 57. Second in makes behind Caleb Love. Second in attempts behind Caleb Love as well. And he is the best free throw shooter on this team by just a tad over Caleb Love. Caleb Love shoots 87%, and Anthony Del Orso shoots 88% from the line. So we're talking the other night about who you want in the game late. Both those guys, for sure, because they're going to knock down free throws. And we've seen that. I mean, we've already seen that a couple of times this year where the Wildcats have been able to stave off some of these comebacks with free throws at the end of games. Anthony Del Orso hit a couple of those threes late second half or mid-second half in the win over Central Florida on Saturday. That second one you heard there got very emotional after making that shot. Talked about his emotions there.
Big moment, big play, just kind of emotions let run wild. I mean, I know, we kind of feed off that. Like when Tobe does something, I feed off that. We all kind of use that energy to, give us momentum, and that's just something happened. I liked it, let loose a little bit.
Kind of reminded me, guys, a little bit of Pelle Larsson. Pelle used to get emotional like that after he would hit a big three the last couple of years, and of course, he's wearing that same number 3 that Pelle donned here.
And I feel like when Pelle did it, it was more so to get the team going. He was, but I think with Del Orso right now is to get himself going. He feel good about. He's glad that he's able to show the guys that this is my value to the team, man. I can score. I can put the ball in the basket, and when he's able to do that, he know it just bring morale to the team, lift everybody's energy. So it's just a guy that understands that. Hey guys, look, I'm rounding out to understanding my role.
I much prefer a guy who's yelling to get himself going or yelling to get his teammates going versus yelling to get the opposing fan base mad at them, which we've also seen recently. But yeah, I mean, I think obviously Del Orso has had some great shooting games, a couple other games where he didn't shoot so well. That inner confidence, Kelvin, he knows he can shoot. Everybody knows he can shoot. It's about making those shots in a game. Clearly he was feeling himself in that game. I like it. I like the amount of emotion the young man's showing because, as Kelvin just said right there, that's not trying to rile anybody up. He's not doing that in direction of some other player. He's just really feeling himself in that moment.
Tommy Lloyd on the exuberance of one Anthony Del Orso.
Well, he's fiery, but he's still finding his way and figuring it out. So Ever since we started him, it's not like he's played great, but our team's played pretty good. So there's probably something to that. KJ's played really good in his role, so I feel good about that. Carter's played good in his role, so I feel like good how the pieces are fitting together. And I knew it's only a matter of time till Deli steps up and has some moments like that. And we want him hunting shots. We want him being aggressive because he's a great shooter, and he's a good offensive player. Now, the one thing I do want from him, I want him to get the ball out of his hand a little bit quicker. Some of these pick and rolls, maybe one or two dribbles too many. And, he's a guy that could be a great little dime dropper to kind of initiates our action and gets our flow going. So we need to get better at that with him.
See any reason why he seems to do more of this in the second half? His scoring and just that.
I mean, I don't see any reason. That'd be a great question that to ask. I don't know. I mean, eventually I hope he gets comfortable. And if you're starting, let's do that before the first media timeout sometimes and see what happens. And that's the opportunity he's getting right now, and hopefully it's only a matter of time until he does that.
What are you guys seeing that maybe he can do to maybe get going a little bit earlier in some of these games?
You know what, man? I always say this, and I've said this before. You don't want to bump heads with your guys. You know that Caleb is trying to get going early in the game. You don't want to get in his way. But it's a thing to where if the opportunity comes, go for it. So it's almost like you don't want to make a mistake, right? But they got you starting for a reason. You're in there because they want you to shoot the ball when you have those opportunities. And when you heard the coach say that, and I'm going to say this, Coach feels more like that because of the way that he's been playing. So, of course, he feels like you can be a little bit more, possibly more aggressive early. But in Del Orso's mind, he's like, man, I got to be a little cautious early because I don't want to miss a couple shots and get taken out for the rest of the game. So I think he has a little bit more leeway now with the way that he's been playing overall lately.
And defense, right? I mean, you talk about it all the time. It's who you're going to guard. So, I mean, that Duke game, he got pulled out because he got beat a couple times, really didn't show that effort. The simple answer to your question, DK, is move better off the ball. I mean, Del Orso's not a guy who's going to, Steph Curry you into a step back after putting it between his legs 6 times. That's not necessarily his game right now. However, great catch and shooter, probably the best catch and shoot player on this team right now. So when you're talking about the offensive guys, when Awaka's going 3 for 3 to start a game, when you've got, Caleb Love is a threat from anywhere on the court, JB's penetrating. Well, all those guys are threats to score. Del Orso has to find the open spots in that flow offense and just be ready to catch the ball and let it fly. I mean, he's great off the catch and shoot. He just has to find his own spots and find the empty spots on the court, and then he'll get more shots early.
And I'll add to that, now he's being a gravity guy. That's the word that I've been hearing these guys say a lot now. He's been a gravity guy. So now when he's catching...
What are they yelling when he's about to catch the ball?
Exactly.
Shooter.
But what he's doing sometimes is he's getting the ball and bouncing it a few times and probing, and that's where coach is saying, no, get off of it quicker because you already done your job. You're gravity. Guys are pulling to you, and now that's opening up the next guy to have space to be able to do his thing, either wide open or one-on-one. You don't have to put the ball on the floor and create at that time unless it's late clock or something.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he kind of said there that I want him to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. One too many dribbles, but one of the plays I liked where I thought he held the ball a little bit, he held the ball long enough was when he went underneath the basket, took a couple more dribbles to allow Vassar to separate from his man to get that lob at the rim. So I thought, well,
he was watching some TJ McConnell highlights.
And you know what? And that's where, that's that no. Oh, good pass, right? But then what happens is you make that one play, and now you start doing it too much, and now the defense is looking for it now, and now you're not moving the ball. So that's why Coach said he just wants the guys to play smart and just make the right movement with the ball. If that opportunity is there, you take it, but you don't look for that opportunity.
And what's he? Shooting guard, small forward, kind of like that 2-3 combo, right? I mean, he's got a 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio on the season. That's acceptable, Kelvin, for a guy who's not creating. I don't think he's been super sloppy, but like Coach said right there, I think he wants to see him after he's made a couple of shots, Kelvin, one dribble, next defensive steps up, find the cutter, be a facilitator once you are a threat, and the defense has to, pay attention to your gravity because you're out there doing damage.
Anthony Del Orso's second half line in that win over Central Florida, 13 points in 12 minutes. 2 for 4 from the field, both threes, 2 for 2. 7 of 7 from the line. He made 9 of 9, I believe, in the game. And his he had 2 rebounds and an assist in that 12 minutes. And his plus minus was 10. He had the highest plus minus in that second half for the Arizona Wildcats. Anthony, on how he has been able to raise his level of play after the intermission.
I mean, every game's different. You know, some games you feel it early, some games later. It's just, you know, you're figuring out the game as you go on, kind of what coverage is and stuff like that, and it's just a matter of time. I mean, it's also, the whole team's playing a certain way and stuff like that, and we're looking for each other, so, you know, any moment, anyone can kind of go off.
All right, that is a spotlight shined on the transfer from Campbell, Anthony Del Orso.
That's today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
All right, we're going to take this break a little bit earlier than we normally do because in the next segment, it's time to hear Tommy Lloyd unload, download, unload, whatever you want to call it. The coach was not real happy after a 8-point win on Saturday night. And as animated a sounding board as we have ever heard from this head coach after a game. We'll get to all of that next. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats, Baylor Bears, number 25 Bears in town. Tip-off coming up at 9. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 dock fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond Musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE Eagle.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, Cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
All right, she's inside. Are you good?
Yeah. It's just, she's my baby girl, you know?
I do, and ceramic coating was a good choice.
She's beautiful.
Yep, I know.
Recon Auto Detailing. Enhance or restore your baby to her former glory with paint recondition, ceramic coating, paint protection, tinting, and more for full protection of your vehicle inside and out. New cars, old cars, we love them all. Recon Auto Detailing, 3829 North Oracle Road, Tucson. ReconDetail.com.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Right corner, KJ Lewis. He'll back out the dribble now. New 20 to shoot. Waits for a screen from Basar. Rubs around it to the left. Crossover. Pull-up jumper straight away. Good for KJ. Beautiful shot for KJ Lewis. Great move there.
Let's take a look at the Right Way rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, this is hour number 2 of the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show. Coming up in this hour of the program, we're going to have your scoreboard. We're going to hear from the head coach, who was hot. He was hot after that game on Saturday. Scoreboard is always brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers. Your opponent scouting report. John Morris is the voice of the Baylor Bears. We'll chat with him about this Bears team. Who will be that Bear that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight? There's not a lot of choices because they don't have a lot of healthy guys. That's your pest of the game. Brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. A view from courtside. Brian Peterson from AZ Desert Swarm joins us to give his thoughts on Arizona basketball, and we'll ask him a little bit about some of the recent Arizona football moves as well. All right. Arizona on Saturday led by 14 in the first half against Central Florida. The Knights came back and tied the game right before the half. Then the Wildcats would build a 17-point lead with about 6 minutes to go in the game, and Central Florida would outscore Arizona down the stretch 13-4. Wildcats won by 8, but Tommy Lloyd was not at all happy with the way the game finished.
Arizona 85, UCF 73. Drives left, ball knocked away and stolen. Taken away by Darius Johnson. Running the baseline.
He cannot run the baseline because it was a violation over the backboard. That's a mental mistake.
And now a minute 11 to go. Arizona's lead 87-78. Bradley gets it inbounds to Lewis. And he traveled. And the Wildcats now 13 turnovers. And they come in bunches. Baseline to Awaka, and he stepped on the baseline.
Oh, come on. Those are the mental mistakes. We've had a trigger man run when it was a stationary inbounds. We've had a travel on the initial catch, and now stepping out on the initial catch. 3 turnovers that are crazy.
Wildcats will inbound it, and there's the horn. And the Wildcats take it by a final score of 88-80.
There are so many positives today, and listen, I'm trying to hone in on those because obviously I'm upset with how dumb we played. And I mean, there's no other way to put it. We were dumb. Our fundamentals were poor. Our late game execution was poor, and it's just not acceptable. And hey, I love the result. And I told the staff, if and the players, if somebody would have told me, when we got back to Tucson after the UCLA debacle, that would be 4-0 in conference, I probably wouldn't have believed you. So I love where we're at, but I'm also going to fight for where we're going. And Arizona basketball does not play dumb at the end of a game. And we just weren't good enough. We weren't good enough at the end of the game, and just kind of whether it's disrespecting the game or getting casual, whatever you want to call it, we've got to be better. And those guys that are playing heavy minutes, they've got to be better at the end of a game. They have to be better. There's no other way to put it. And I can try to put them in better positions, and maybe the best position might be off the court. Some of those situations. So those are conversations we're going to have, and because winning's important, and we need to value those opportunities, and we just didn't today.
Well, you got to love Ryan Hansen, who has been the longtime radio analyst for the Arizona Wildcats. I mean, he was absolutely on top of those mistakes as they were happening Saturday night. He had me laughing. We said, that's crazy. That was my favorite part of that. I mean, Ryan, nobody knows what they're seeing. I mean, other than maybe the captain, nobody knows as good as what they're seeing than Ryan Hansen when things are not right with the way the Wildcats are conducting their business. And again, you just cannot have those types of silly things happening at the end of games. That's how you lose. That's how you lose, tournament championships and NCAA tournament games and national championships.
Yeah, as a coach, man, it gets you a little bit beside yourself because you don't expect those type of mistake. Every player knows that when the ball goes through the basket, you can run the baseline. Anytime the ref hands you the ball, you cannot move. If you move more than one step in either direction, they can call travel.
It's their job to tell them, too. Like, I've never seen a ref not tell a player, make the motion with their hand, and they show that you can run the baseline after a made basket or otherwise. Like, I've made basket timeout, still run the baseline. Like, there's different rules, but that's something you learn real early in your career. It's just unforced errors. Let's call it what it is. I mean, those 3 turnovers we just played were all unnecessary turnovers. And obviously Arizona ended up winning by 8, but they lost the UCLA game. Very similar situation down the stretch. There was not a full bore 1-3-1 full quarter court. We're coming after your throats type of trap going on right there. And a couple of those plays they did, but it wasn't Kelvin coming at him the whole time down the stretch last 5 minutes. Just unforced errors and unnecessary to turn the ball over like that.
And really, as a coach, you're preparing for the rest of the season. So what he's talking about is that's going to get us beat later in the season versus better teams. And also, when you put that on tape, other teams say, that's our chance right there. Look, they get loose with the ball. Look at the games that they lost. They got loose with the ball. They will allow you to come back. They'll allow you to get back into the game. As a coach, when I'm game planning, I'm showing my guys this tangible evidence from games that they've played. So when I'm in that huddle telling my guys, come on, man, keep going, guys. Keep going. They prima donnas. I ain't talking about the U of A, but I'm just saying these are the things we say to our players to kind of make them believe that we can get over the hump. They prima donnas. They got to be in front. Let's make it tight on them. Let's make it tight and see how they played in. And then those little mistakes happen where coaches can go and show on the video. They will show KJ making that mistake. They will show that on video just as well as they'll show a turnover in the game to show that, like, look, they have mental lapses. So coach is trying to tell them, like, hey, you have a chance to be the toughest nightmare of the coach's game plan by the way that you play. Because it'll make, when you're looking at a game and when you're looking at a team and you know that they're not making any mistakes, and you're listening to the coach game plan, you're like, man, you know we still lose.
Kelvin, did you see the Pitt SMU game the other day in women?
Say it again?
The Pittsburgh versus Southern Methodist game in women's basketball?
I didn't see it.
Okay, so Pitt was down 32, and they won by 15.
Ooh.
So and that was in the first half. So the whole idea of look no further, that game happened, I think, 2 days after this UCF game or the day after the UCF game.
Yeah, it was Sunday.
Look no further. To me, perfect practice makes perfect. It's not about you being in a gym by yourself and practice your 20-footer. It's about every single minute out there on the court, Kelvin. Those 5 guys taken every single play as seriously. I mean, come on. The game's only 40 minutes long. So being focused and concentrated on making the right play, you've been drilling it your whole life to be able to make those kind of plays and just to not be so casual with the ball. And obviously they won that game, but in the future, that could be a different story.
And I'll add this, because basically you look at it, when those times have come and they've had those big leads, is it because I heard DK said earlier, you know how you kind of go into prevent and you're not being as aggressive? It looks a little like that because you kind of, that's where that adage come from. You have to put your foot on their throat. Like, you don't want to, I've been in a situation where I just really beat some team like 100-30. You don't want to do that. But if you call your kids off too early, that's what they learn. That's why a lot of times a lot of these coaches don't want to play games against some of these cupcake teams early in the season, because your guys aren't doing nothing but learning bad habits that are not going to translate versus better teams. So that's what he's doing right now. He's trying to get basically a new starting group and a new 2 or 3 guys off the bench to understand what it's going to take to be able to win big games, because as these guys have seen in some of the games that they lost, it was really just having that lack of concentration.
Head coach called his team's play dumb. Dumb. What did Anthony Delorso think about that?
I would say, I mean, in moments, obviously, you can, watching the film, you can kind of nitpick everything and what you should have done and what you shouldn't have done after the fact. But in the moment, like Tobe said, everyone was trying hard. Just sometimes you don't make the probably best decision in terms of what's best for the team and not best for, individual play. That's kind of, I guess, what I would interpret that as, because we kind of fell back to that. Early in the season, we were doing that a lot. And then when they came back from the 14 deficit, that's kind of what we were doing. And then we, kind of got out of that, realized we acknowledged our mistake, and then kind of you could see how fast we got back to lead. So it's just a team thing, an accountability thing, and we took that like no one's taking things personal here. So as soon as we saw that, we just changed, and that was it.
Well, and one guy that Tommy Lloyd did single out was his best player, Caleb Love, who had a pretty good ball game overall, but you heard some of those turnovers down the stretch. He was responsible for 2 of those.
Caleb was great to start, was not good enough at the end, whether it's shot selection or dribbling up the sideline against a trap. Caleb's played college basketball for 5 years. He knows better than that. Falling down. Okay, this stuff shouldn't happen. I'm counting on this guy to be like an All-American level player. And I love Caleb, and I've given him a lot. He's got to be better. Bottom line, he's got to be better. Fighting for our season, point blank, right? I mean, you guys have been all the ones knowing how we've been playing. You guys have been making all the comments. But you know what? I'm behind the curtain. I'm fighting. I'm fighting for these guys. I'm fighting for our team. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because you know what? I haven't been sugarcoating it with them. If you think I'm telling you stuff right now that they haven't heard, you're crazy. They know. They know where we're at. And they know where we want to go. And if we want to go where we want to go, we've got to get better.
So is his nickname now going to be the man from Oz, the man behind the curtain? Tommy Lloyd right there. Again, going after, obviously, his best player who did not make winning decisions down the stretch. And again, if there's one guy that you need to do that, it's got to be your best player. He's the one that's is probably going to have the ball in his hands in a lot of instances. How many times did we see that last year where there was last shot implications and the ball was in the hands of Caleb Love? He's got to be able to be a guy that's dominant with the ball in his hands in those situations.
Yeah, you're totally right. And the reason why coach is doing it, first of all, if coach thought Caleb was too sensitive and they didn't have a great relationship, he wouldn't do that, and he wouldn't be able to do that because, of course, they have to get in the back and have agents have meetings, and all that right there. But he's comfortable with Caleb. They have a relationship. He's been around. He would have never done this last year. But he's been around here long enough to know that, like, hey, I love you. I've been through some ups and downs with you. When you wasn't shooting well, I still was there, and I had your back, and I let you come back and shoot another 8 or 9 threes in a game. So I have your back. You was player of the year. I was your coach when you made that player of the year. So I have expectations. I have All-American expectations for you. I know you have dreams of going to the NBA. I know there's things that you want to get out of this, and those dreams, you're not going to be able to attain those dreams if I don't hold you to this standard. And then also, it's bigger than Caleb. He's making those comments out loud because he wants every player on that team to know, if I'll say this about my All-American, a guy that all you guys know I love and all you guys know that I respect, and I've shown that through the way that I've let him lead this team in the style of play that I've let him have. If you know I'm going to hold him accountable, then you know I'm coming for you. Then you know I'm coming for you. So I think that was even bigger than Caleb, right? I remember times where Coach Tomey would come into me and say, hey, you know I love you, but I'm finna go off on you in front of everybody right there. And I'm just like, I'm a little startled, but go ahead.
So he told you that ahead of time?
He did. He told me ahead of time. He come up to me ahead of time, hey, I'm going to go off on you today, and I'm not knowing, like, why? Like, thinking a little bit to my mind, the first time it happened, I'm thinking, why? But then when he went off on me in front of everybody and I seen how everybody was captivated, and I know that everybody knew Coach Tomey, loved me like a son, and, all the guys respected how he respected me, and, the partnership that we had with the squad. So when he went off on me like that, all the other guys just like, whoa. They called me his son. Like, whoa, he went off on his son today. Then they see me like, man, what you do to your pops? You know what I'm saying? Just like that. Like, so now he got all their attention, and then he can get on them without, feeling anything.
Exactly.
And so he told me, the next times he did it, I understood where he was coming from, because if you can get on the toughest guy, if you can get on the best player, who is the next guy? He's expecting it, because now when you don't get on him, he's thinking, man, Coach must don't care about me. So now he's expecting you to get on him when there's something. So next is KJ. Next is, Jaden. You can go down the line, but you have to start at the top.
Yep.
And he doesn't necessarily do that, Coach Lloyd, is talk to his players through the media. The previous coach here before, Tommy Lloyd, did that a lot, would talk trash in press conferences, basically. But back to the guard play, the old adage about good guard play is what wins games in the NCAA tournament. Guys, that has to do with what happens by getting your team facilitating offense in the early stages of the game. But predominantly, more than anything, what good guard play does in the NCAA tournament is allows you to take care of the ball, Kelvin, down the stretch of a tight game where a mistake is amplified so much. So while that, last 3 minutes of that game with the, avoidable turnovers, we can point to those versus the UCF game. They ended up winning by 8. Any game in the future where you're like that and kind of nonchalant with the ball down the stretch, you got to have Jaden Bradley, Caleb Love, and KJ Lewis. All three of those guys are going to be your primary ball handlers down the stretch of games. All three of those guys have to be strong and smart with the ball, Kelvin. Simple as that.
All right. Well, the coach ended his diatribe on Saturday night when he was asked what he felt his team had learned down the stretch in that win over Central Florida.
We've already learned the lesson. And we fell back into it. So that was stupid. That's it. We've learned the lesson. We've had the ball taken from us. We haven't played smart. And then we got better at it. And we've been working on that stuff every single day. We've been working on jump stops and pivots every single day. We work on situations every single day. We work on early shot clock, late shot clock every single day. So be better. Be better. And you know what? As coaches, we've got to be better. We own this too. We're in the fight with the players. This isn't a coach talking down to players. We're all in this together, and we're fighting to have a great season. And you know what? We're back on track. We're back on track. We're right where we want to be. We're right where we should be. Now, go try to fight to be great. You got to fight to be great. The stuff just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And I think sometimes because guys come to Arizona and put Arizona on their chest, they think it just happens. It doesn't happen. You have to fight for it. Love you guys.
All right. Well, we love you too, Coach, and appreciate your pointness there about what happened on Saturday night. Anthony Del Orso, one more time on Lloyd's frustrations there.
Obviously, defensively, it wasn't where we're at, and our rankings kind of show better than what we showed tonight. And I think that's kind of the frustration he was showing, just in things that, we could have easily won by 20, 25, and that's probably what it should have been, but we kind of let it slip, had a few moments where we kind of went back to our old ways that weren't working a little bit, and that's kind of something we're trying to leave in the past because, since we've changed, with, like you said, with 4-0, whatever it is now.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening around the rest of college basketball on this Tuesday night.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
Still getting used to these Tuesday nights in this new conference of ours. Big 12 this evening. There are games on the docket. Most of these games will be, at least two of them will be final before we start, and then one of them starts at the same time we do. And that'll be the other game here in the state of Arizona. Central Florida and the Sun Devils up in Tempe tonight is also a 9 o'clock start. 7 o'clock tips coming up.
It's so weird. Okay, so UCF came to Tucson. Now they're going to Tempe. But Baylor went to Tempe, and now they're coming to Tucson.
Yeah, it's very...
That travel thing, like where we're so used to the travel partners. I mean, Baylor's on the back end of their games this week. They went to ASU first. Now they're coming here. UCF's coming here and going there. There are 3 games and 3 teams involved in this home stretch. Weird.
Yeah. So you've got Texas Tech at Kansas State tonight. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off. And then you've got Oklahoma State at BYU. So you've got some of the bottom teams or some of the teams on the lower half of the Big 12 in action tonight. Arizona is the only one of the 4-0 teams that is in action on this Tuesday night. And then, let's see, tomorrow night, you've got 4 more games. Kansas at Iowa State. That'll be a number 9 versus 2 matchup in Ames. So we'll keep an eye on that tomorrow night. Houston will host West Virginia. That'll be a good one tomorrow night as well. The Cougars are ranked 10th. Utah at TCU. Cincinnati and Colorado. Somebody is going to get their first Big 12 win tomorrow in Boulder. Top 25 action tonight. As always, you've got a lot of ranked matchups because, half the SEC is ranked. So far,
that's not going to change either, guys, because did you see the SEC ACC challenge? The SEC won, I think, 93% of those games, meaning that going into the conference season, the SEC has the vast majority of highly ranked teams. They're just going to beat up on each other. Nothing much is going to change. You're going to see 10, 12 SEC teams ranked from here on out.
Let's start, though, in the Big 10. This might be the night that they run Mike Woodson out of town.
Ballo versus Boswell.
Ballo versus Boswell. Number 19, Illinois, leading by 28 midway here, 3/4 of the way through the second half tonight, 81-53. Colin Boswell, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals for the former Arizona Wildcat guard. Umar Ballo, 14 points, 14 rebounds. So the 2 Wildcats going to town.
So it's not him.
That game, not him at all. Not him at all.
If do you guys know Grant Napier from the Kings?
Yeah.
He said, if you don't like this, you don't like NBA basketball, was his famous thing. Well, the past couple of weeks, I keep seeing, if you don't like this, you don't like Mike Woodson basketball, and it's a screenshot of them having 22 points in the first half with 2 minutes left and the other team having 55.
Yeah, they gave up 60 in the first half.
They're struggling scoring, and they're giving up a
60 in the first
ton
half.
of points. Yeah.
Wow. And sometimes, when he's a NBA coach.
Woodson,
right? And so they went out and paid some big money for a lot of the guys that they brought in.
Oh, yeah.
And those guys.
The most. I think they played the most money in NIL, yeah.
Their class, wasn't their transfer class ranked number 1?
Well, Ballo and Miles Rice. And Carlisle, right? Those 3 guys alone.
Yep.
And
Carlisle.
And I'm not speaking on them, but a lot of time in situations where you try to buy your championship, it doesn't really work out because a lot of those guys come to get the bag.
Well, this might be the first year.
Come to win games, they come to get the biggest bag that they can get.
This might be the first year, Kelvin, we got that pressure. The pressure of changing jobs and going to a new job and getting a pay raise, and then you got to perform to the level that you're getting your new salary. And we're talking about these players leaving their former schools to go get a big payday at a new school. At some level, $3 million or whatever numbers we're talking about, at some level, it's pressure enough just playing college basketball, national stage, all that stuff.
Because what does Scott Barnes say? If you don't take the shot we paying you to take, you're gonna come sit next to me.
Exactly. You're getting paid to take that shot.
Make the shot, just take the shot.
Take the shot.
And a lot of guys be feeling that pressure. They don't want to hurt their percentages and different things. And the coach said, man, you got to go for it, man. That's it. You got to go for it. You got to try to play winning basketball. You got to try. That's what I'll say this one more time. That's what I say about the set plays. Like when you're running set plays, that means that you're trying to get a specific thing done, right? And it may not work. Trust me. A lot of times your play's not going to work. The defense just, they understood and they stop you. But it's the effort of trying to do the right thing.
And for the record, Umar Ballo is shooting 68% from the field again this year. So just get him the ball more.
Yeah, it's not him.
All right, that's our first check of your college basketball scoreboard.
Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
Your scouting report is next. We'll talk to the voice of the Baylor Bears.
There is one other score of note. Your Cleveland Cavaliers are currently up 94-83 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter versus the Indiana Pacers.
All right, they were up double digits the other night, and that did not end well. But I like that. 11 is a good number, and I think that was one of our BetQL top plays today was take the over in that game, which was 233. So what are we at?
Got some mad Cavs. Yeah, it's definitely going to be over. It's 94-83 with a minute and 51 left in the third quarter.
Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. It is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Straight ahead, we'll get your scouting report with the voice of the Baylor Bears, John Morris. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. 2 powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Now that winter is really here, cooler overnight temperatures mean that your tire pressure warning light could be on. In most cases, you solve the problem by simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. As always, you can stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with that low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Check out jackfurriers.com. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work. Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Rightway is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 5-star Google reviews, you can trust Rightway to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Rightway today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Ring in the savings at the Marion Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC. Jingle all the way with huge savings. Save $14,000 off a new 24 Buick Enclave, or go big and save $16,000 off a new 24 GMC Sierra 1500 Pro Crew Cab, or lease it for $375 a month for 24 months with zero due at signing and all taxes and fees included. Plus, business owners can save even more with federal tax deductions on qualifying vehicles. See dealer for details. B33506, G8449. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Leases excluded. Lease mileage charge of 20 cents per mile over 10,000 per year. Offers end 1/2/25. Get into a new Buick or GMC this season with nothing out of pocket. The Merry and Bright sales event at Royal Buick GMC in the Tucson Auto Mall or RoyalTucson.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. Time now for our look at today's Wildcat opponent. The scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
All right, let's take a little bit of a closer look at tonight's opponent, the Baylor Bears. Pleased to be joined by the voice of the Bears, John Morris. John, we had a chance, obviously, to talk to you last year when you guys were opening up your brand new arena in Waco for these basketball programs that you have. We saw the ladies come through here last week and get a win in overtime, and you guys are making your first trek into here. But how's the new arena gone now? Because it's been I think you guys, if I remember correctly, opened it up kind of in the middle of last season. How have folks kind of gravitated to that new facility?
Yeah, you're right. It was so January 2nd or maybe January 3rd last year is when we opened. Last year we played non-conference at our old place and then moved middle of the year, which was a challenge, but it's been really good. It is the home court advantage that we hoped it would be. It's not big. It's 7,500, but we fill it up, and the structure is such the fans are right on top of the court. So it has been really good. I think the men have won 9 straight at home. It's the current winning streak. So it has been really good for both the Baylor men and women.
All right, you guys start off this road trip. You get a win in overtime at Arizona State. You guys had a lead in that game. Sun Devils came back. What was good about the way that the Bears were able to close that win out?
Well, the best part is won the game at the end of the night, but Baylor sort of frittered away a 15-point lead early in the second half, and we're playing really well. And then the crowd got behind the Sun Devils, and they closed on a pretty good run. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think Baylor didn't score a field goal for the last almost 4 minutes of the game. So that cost us. They tied it 61-61. But in overtime, Baylor regained the lead and never looked back. So it was a good win. I mean, any road win in this league is a good win, and that was a good one for the Bears.
I was just about to ask you, Johnny. It sounds like almost like what we've been going to, building big leads, and then you watch your big leads suddenly go away. Is that just the way it's going to be every night in this league?
I don't know. You know what I think it is? I think the home court advantage really shows itself in the second half when the team needs it. Because I've seen that several places, other games not involving Baylor or Arizona, like Arizona State, for example. That's top of mind because we just played them. But they led Kansas at halftime in Lawrence and then just got boat raced in the second half, and Kansas won that game. So I think that's part of it. I just think the home court advantages are really, really good everywhere you go in this league. And we know how good it is at the McHale Center, so we know what we're up against.
It is your scouting report, and it's brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier, since 1960, we're here to get you there. John Morris is joining us. He is the voice of the Baylor Bears, and Baylor, a little bit of a gauntlet to start their season, non-conference, playing 5 ranked opponents, going 2-3 over that stretch with wins over Arkansas and then a win over St. John's, losses to Gonzaga, Tennessee, and UConn. What was the feeling, John, about the way the club handled that tough non-conference schedule?
Could have been better, obviously. The Gonzaga game was the first game of the year, and it was just not a good way to start the season. I think there's a reason that you don't play a really, really top-notch opponent your first game of the year. from our perspective at least. You need to get your sea legs under you, and there's new guys, and how you going to play together, and what's the rotation, and what's the chemistry, and all of those things, we got answers to, but in the form of a pretty bad loss to Gonzaga. And the other losses, were to really good teams. I mean, add Iowa State in there. We lost to Iowa State Saturday a week ago, and they're up to number 2 in the nation this week. So those are the 4 losses for Baylor, the games you mentioned. Baylor was not good against Gonzaga, not good, especially at the start against Tennessee, and that was in the Bahamas. Better against UConn. It ended up being, I think, it was a much closer game, much better competition for Baylor against UConn. And then Iowa State was really, really tough. We were shorthanded, and maybe shorthanded again, but those are the 4 losses for Baylor against 4 really good teams.
Obviously, you look at this team and this roster up and down, a lot of transfers, kind of like what the Wildcats have. Norchad Omier comes in from Miami, and he's kind of been the go-to guy. Was that kind of expected that when he came in, he would be the primary scorer for this Baylor team?
He's even better than expected, or in my opinion, better, because we needed, a 4-player, a really strong 4 to come in. And, man, does he fit the bill there. He's big and strong, and he's relentless on the boards. He's averaging a double-double. This guy has more double-doubles in his career than anybody playing basketball right now among the active players. He's got 76 double-doubles in his career. And he has just been really good. Scoring-wise, he's our leading scorer. He's the leading rebounder, obviously, leading rebounder in the Big 12. So he has been everything and more that we hoped he would be.
And a couple of these true freshman guards that you guys have in VJ Edgecombe and Robert Wright III?
True freshmen. How about that? And when you see them, tell me what you think, but they don't look like true freshmen. I mean, they are very poised. They played basketball at a very high level. Rob Wright played at Montverde, and played almost a college schedule in high school. And VJ Edgecombe, very highly recruited and highly thought of. But those guys have been really, really good also, and they just don't seem like freshmen. We go into these, tough environments like we'll see tomorrow night, and they're just unfazed. They don't get ruffled, and a lot of that is handling the ball and avoiding the press and getting out of traps, and they've just handled it really, really well.
Another talented freshman again as well. I believe it's Jason Azamota. Is that correct?
Yep, you're exactly right. And he's played more lately. We've had a couple of guys out lately, Langston Love and Jalen Celestine. Celestine's a transfer from Cal, so your listeners may remember him playing at Cal. So those guys have been out the last 2 games, for Langston a little bit longer. So Jason, it's opened up some minutes for him, and he's done really well. He's going to only get better and better. I don't think he's at the level of VJ and Rob Wright right now, but, boy, there's a lot of potential there, and that's at a position where we need some real quality minutes from him.
Well, I mean, so again, Scott Drew's got a young squad here. 22 years. I mean, 23rd year for him at this school. Does it seem like it's been that long? And just what he's been able to build there and making this team, one of the consistent national powers every year in college basketball?
In some ways, it seems like it was yesterday. In other ways, it seems like it's been longer than 22 years. But what he's done is really remarkable. If you think about where the Baylor program was when Coach Drew took over, we were as low as low could be. And there were probably some coaches that Baylor may have contacted and said, no way do I want that situation. But Coach Drew said he felt called to Baylor, and he came in and rolled his sleeves up and went to work. And he runs the program. I know you've seen, he wrote a book about it, The Culture of Joy, and that is Jesus first, others second, and yourself third. And, from those very, very meager beginnings when he took over to a national championship in 2021, it's just amazing what he has done. And, he works as hard today as he did before that national championship, maybe harder. And he's not slacking off one bit. So it's really been fun to work around him and work with him and just see the way he runs the program, the way it represents Baylor so very well.
John Morris, the voice of the Baylor Bears, joining us with your scouting report. It's brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there. John, describe those early years, because it did not come quickly. I mean, there were I'm looking, this is like 4 or 5 seasons where it took time to get to 20 wins. What was he doing that he didn't lose the fan? We've seen how quickly fan bases can be lost. We went through that this football season where things did not go the way as expected, and everybody was ready to jump off the bus. What kept people on the Scott Drew bandwagon through the 8-21, 9-19, and 4-13, and 15 and 16 seasons?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question, because and think about the Baylor administration sticking with him also. It's just, if you're around him, he makes you believe. You can tell why he's such a good recruiter and such a good coach, that he's relentless in how hard he works, and you just feel that, and anybody that knows him pulls for him and wants him to succeed. And even through those early years, everybody knew he was working with a short stick, and just working to get the recruits up to the level that he wanted to be able to compete in the Big 12 and nationally. So everybody was very, very supportive of him, even through those years. And you're right, there were some very lean years for Baylor. But always, everything just always was positive, or looked at, through a positive lens. So that makes you want to, keep going and keep coming to the games, and keep supporting him and the team. And then the fans, with the success here the last few years, have been rewarded as much as the basketball program has.
All right, John, what's been your initial thoughts on this first Arizona road trip, to Arizona State and Arizona for Baylor, in terms of just a new locale to come to in this conference?
Well, number one, I love it, and we love the weather that we're getting. So I think we're here at a very good time. A
little cold for us.
Well,
you missed the 80s, but
yeah. But it's January, right? So a little cool is not too bad. So we love this weather, and just the blue sky and the sunshine. It's just fabulous. And I think that Arizona State and Arizona are and the other new schools, Utah and Colorado this year, I just think they're great fits for the Big 12 conference. Certainly Arizona is, with the basketball stature of this league. Arizona comes in and just ups it even more. So I think that's great.
And in terms of the game, what do you think the keys are for Baylor to get out of here with a win?
The things that they point to every game, they try to hold their opponent 39% shooting or less. Rebounding is going to be really, really big, both ends of the floor. We know how good Arizona is rebounding the ball. And I think the crowd is probably, like it always is going to be a real factor in Arizona's favor. So our guys have to handle that crowd. So those are a few things. I mean, it's going to be tough, and it would be a huge win if Baylor gets out of here with a win.
All right, Arizona and Baylor. John, have a great call of the game.
Great to visit with you. I appreciate it. Fun to come to Tucson, and thanks for having me on.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rocking K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast. So if you've been injured, make the right choice first.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
And here's Bradley the other way. Down to Love, handed to Vasar, out top, shoots the three straight away. It's good. Henry Vasar with his second Lexus of Tucson Charity three.
Trail post men typically are wide open when they're defended by shot blockers in transition.
Tommy Lloyd has been urging Henry to shoot more, and he's doing just that.
Henry Vasar, redshirt sophomore, leads Arizona in total plus minus when he's on the court, plus 186, although he was minus in the last game. In Big 12 play, he's averaging 11.7 rebounds and shooting 65% from the floor, averaging 23 minutes per game. It is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. I'm David Kelly. I've got Kelvin Ifan, J.W. Madden here, getting you set for Arizona and Baylor tonight here at McHale Center. It'll be a 9 o'clock tip-off, so we've got you for a little bit longer, about another hour and 15 minutes tonight with us. Still a whole lot of show to get to in this particular realm. Let's find out right now who. Now that we've heard from John Morris, who might just be that Baylor Bear that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
Now, we mentioned this is a team that is dealing with some injuries. So we don't know the status of the two young men that are hurt. Jalen Celestine, who comes over from the University of California, and Langston Love, no relation to Caleb Love of the Arizona Wildcats. But again, those are two guards that come off the bench. And it was interesting. We heard from Scott Drew earlier in the show just talking about, hey, I mean, that's tough. That's tough when you just it'd be like taking two quarterbacks out of a game for a football team. Your second string and your third string quarterbacks out, and now you're trying to find out who's going to back up that first string quarterback if he goes down. Now, these are two very talented bench guys. I guess the equivalent for the Wildcats would be, imagine if you took KJ Lewis and Anthony DeLorso, and all of a sudden they were not available to you.
And it's even bigger than that. Both of those guys are going to play today. I got some feeling that against Arizona, those guys are going to figure out a way to play today for sure.
It's bigger than that, too, because if you know anything about Drew and his style, I mean, Kelvin knows all about this because this is what Kelvin likes to see is all guards and really athletic forwards. So it's not like they're running out there, Kelvin, with a couple of 7'2" guys. That's not Drew's style. So when you're without your best two bench guards in a guard-heavy offense-defense, that's a bigger impact, obviously, on that team.
Jalen Celestine averages 8 points per ball game. Langston Love averages 7 points per ball game. So a couple of guys that obviously can contribute off the bench. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what their status is going to be going into this game tonight. So with that said, who do we like as pests of the game? We'll start with J.W. Madden.
Well, normally I like a guy who makes a lot of threes or a guy who steals the ball because those tend to be pestier than others. But based on the last game out, I'm going to go with their bench rebounder, Josh Ojinuwana. Something like that. Apologize, young man, if I mispronounced your name dramatically. But that guy's their second best offensive rebounder. He's a guy who comes in off the bench and dominates the offensive glass. So based on the issues that the Arizona Wildcats had in closing out UCF the other night, that's a guy. We already know what Norchad's going to bring. We talked a lot about him on the show already. But Josh, I think, is going to come off the bench. He's an issue if you let him get there on the offensive glass. So that's going to be my pest today.
Ojanwunu. Josh Ojanwunu. Kelvin, what do you think?
I'm going to go with a guy that has a lot of experience coming out of Duke, Jeremy Roach. I think that if he plays well, you know how Big Omer are gonna play, and also VJ. Those guys seem to just bring it. But to me, if Roach plays well at the point guard position, that's when they're a different team.
We already talked about the number of starts for Caleb and the number of starts for Norchad, but Jeremy Roach has 121 career starts, guys. I mean, that's a fifth-year senior, 4 years starter at Duke. So, yeah, tough.
Well, I mean, you actually stole my thunder a little bit there, J-Dub. I was going to go with Josh Ojanwunu as well for this team because just for what you said, he's probably right now their number one guy coming off the bench, and he's kind of in the mold of that Norchad Omer. He's a guy that's third. Yeah, he can get double-doubles. In the last 5 games, 12 points. And a career-high 17 rebounds in that game against Arizona State. I mean, 17 rebounds. We haven't seen a lot of those high double-digit games since a guy by the name of Umar Balo was running around these parts. So, yeah, definitely a guy that's going to potentially be a pest in the side of the Arizona Wildcats, so much so that Scott Drew just kind of talked a little bit about the emergence of one Josh Ojanwunu of late.
First and foremost, he's put in work for 2 years in a program. In the third year, he's strong enough, tough enough, knows our offense, defense enough, and I think he's really the players done a good job telling him we need more out of him, and because they knew he was capable of it. And I just think they've done a better job giving him the ball when he was open. He's done a better job looking for it. We still want him to get more aggressive in the scoring area, and hopefully we can keep getting to that. But rebounding, he's really done a much better job high pointing the ball.
Yeah, those 17 rebounds that he had were the most by a Baylor Bears player against a Big 12 opponent since Freddie Gillespie had 17 some 5 years ago. So definitely doing some damage there. Josh Ojonwunu.
Yeah, we've marveled at Tobe Awaka's offensive rebounding this year. He's been amongst the league leaders. They average the same number of offensive rebounds per game, those two players. So look out.
Well, and again, this is a team that, like we said before, that's kind of been one of their staples, is they've been a team that can crash the offensive glass. They did it the last time they were here 5 years ago. They continue to do that at a very high level.
To that, Kelvin Efong, because I know you've watched a lot of Baylor. My perspective as an outside looking in, I've seen 50 games in the last 10 years. Their style seems to be really strong with the ball guard play, 2-3 guys, and then just some really athletic, maybe not necessarily polished offensive guys who just go in there and they don't have plays called for them. They're just in there to crash the glass. And that seems to be the style he's played for the bulk of his time down there in Waco.
Yeah, big man, that's job basically screen and roll, play around the rim, looking for offensive rebounders, real guard heavy as far as scoring is concerned. Guys that could beat you off the dribble. Started a few years back where he was taking a lot of JUCO guys, a lot of transfer guys, and letting them come in and be the focal point of the offense, and then the other guys just play around them and play off of them and find different roles.
They had 66 rebounds in a game earlier this season. In their win over Texas Arlington earlier this year.
And that's what they recruit. They basically recruit guys that are just hungry and that's just going to go for it. Again, you go back and watch the team that they had that won the national championship or got to the national championship games. That's been their attitude and style of play for a while. They couldn't quite get that going at Valparaiso like that, with his dad coaching over there because they couldn't get those type of athletes. But now at Baylor, he's able, right there in Texas, able to get those type of guys to where he could play that Houston type of brand of basketball.
All right, those are the guys we think might just get underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
520-848-1290. If you want to shoot us your thoughts on the game, hit us up with a text. Our guy, Fred Scheib, it's going to be a late night for him back on the East Coast. He says this Big 12 schedule is very disappointing. Thought we'd be in earlier games. Just Cincinnati and West Virginia, I guess. Late games favor the Cats, though, versus teams on Eastern and Central time.
You guys know where they're playing at 9? Because they went 0-5 in the non-conference versus power teams. I mean, come on, guys. We already know how this works. If Arizona was a top 5 ranked team right now and undefeated in their non-con, they would get the primary slots, right? And when you struggle a little bit in the non-conference, you get bumped into those 9 p.m. East Coast tips. I'm sorry, 11 East Coast tips. Right.
Yeah, exactly, 11 p.m. On the East Coast. The Wildcats enter tonight's game where we talked about the last time they were here. They ended Arizona's 52-game home winning streak. The Wildcats, however, are 54-4 at home over the last 3+ seasons under Tommy Lloyd, and that is tied for the 6th best home winning percentage in the country. So good stuff there. All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day, getting you set for the Wildcats and the Baylor Bears. Tip-off is coming up your way at 9 o'clock. Much more straight ahead. We got one more hour to go with you. We want to hear from you, your thoughts on Arizona Wildcats basketball. Hit us up on any of our streaming platforms because we are streaming this show on tonight, Instagram Live once again. So head on over to Instagram Live. Leave us a comment there. I see a lot of folks that have checked in to watch the show tonight. Janisa09, Cole Van Winkle, Jeff Cummings 88, Sugar Free, all joining the show tonight on Instagram Live. You can also watch it on YouTube, as always. Head on over to our YouTube channel, Wildcats Radio 1290, and you can also see all of our shows archived over there as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit us with a top chat on our YouTube channel. Also on Facebook Live. Head on over there as well. Wildcats Radio 1290. You can watch the show on any of those streaming platforms as well as Twitch. Don't forget, download our app, Wildcats Radio 1290. Hit us up on any of your spoken devices at home, whether it's Alexa, Google Play. All of those can give you full Arizona Wildcats coverage. The Arizona Athletics Department is no longer in the relationship with Learfield, so you can listen to all the games just by downloading our app and clicking on Wildcats Radio 1290. Full play-by-play now this year for everybody in the area, everybody outside of the area, so no issues if you want to listen to the Wildcats this year. Hour number 3 is straight ahead. Along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is the ultimate team when it comes to your home's comfort.
Thinking about replacing your heating and air system? It's free furnace season at Right Way.
These are some of the slowest months of the year. We have equipment in stock and our crews are available.
And we're including an 80% furnace absolutely free with the purchase of an air conditioning system.
And if that's not enough, we're offering 60 months no interest financing, tax credits up to $2,600, energy efficiency rebates, and 10-year parts and labor warranty.
Call or text 520-200-2422 today or visit rightwayac.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Happy New Year and welcome to 2025. It's a new year, but we still have air conditioning and heating systems at last year's prices. We have high-efficient inverter systems for as low as $89 a month. For year-round comfort, call Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing at 520-492-0748 or PictureRocksCooling.com.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
Not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Off to Bradley. Jaden will pick it up the other way. Crosses midcourt. Leave it for Awaka. High left, it goes to Love. Bounce pass back to Awaka. Driving for the bucket and slams it home.
Over the 7-2 Tiam. Sports Center, top 10.
Catch you a body.
8 points for Awaka.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
Final hour of the show. We've got your best bets straight ahead. Desert Diamond Casino, the sports book, has this game Arizona minus 5.5, over under 147.5 tonight. Your view from courtside, we'll chat with Brian Peterson, senior writer over at AZ Desert Swarm. That is courtesy of Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Keys to the game, starting lineups. We'll hear from still ahead Jaden Bradley, Tommy Lloyd. And right now we'll also hear from Toby Awaka, who had a bounce-back performance. He struggled a little bit on that most recent road trip, but came back with a couple of nice, or at least a nice performance on Saturday night. As we mentioned earlier, he and Henry Vasar combining for 25 points and 11 rebounds out of that 5 spot. Toby Awaka on his improved play against Central Florida.
Just going back to basics. Knowing what I'm good at, knowing what I'm not good at. Like I said before, just stopped overthinking and then just focusing on that.
Toby Awaka, 4th in the Big 12 right now in offensive rebounds per game. He gets about 3, averaging career highs in points this season, 8, rebounds 7, and assist 1, again in a primary playing position for the first time in his career. And a guy that the Wildcats definitely depending on to be a solid performer down low. But again, this is one of those nights. You got a couple of big guys there underneath that could give. And when we talk about Norchand Omir, and we just talked about the other big guy, Josh Ojan Wunu, both of those guys could be folks that give problems to Toby Awaka and Trey Townsend this evening. 520-848-1290. If you want to get in on the program, you can call us or you can text us. Let's hear more from Toby Awaka, who understands that, again, this is game number 5 of the Big 12 Conference. There is still a long way to go.
I think from the beginning, we thought we were never out of it despite the losses. You know, I think continually throughout the season we've been building, and I think you've seen some of that stuff come to fruition as of late. We still have areas in which we still need to build and grow as players individually and collectively as a team. So I would say right now we're right where we want to be. We're not perfect, but there's still room for improvement.
Always room for improvement for sure. And this is kind of where I think the season starts to turn. I mean, you're talking about a 20-game schedule. You've played the first fifth of it, and you've gotten through that undefeated. But the games are going to start to get harder here, I think, with tonight's game. Then you got to go on the road Saturday into Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, another road trip, your second road trip in this conference before coming home against Colorado, leading into what is going to be a pretty interesting matchup here in about a week and a half, really 2 weeks, against the number 3 team, and who knows what they might be when they get here in Iowa State. And that was a team that really put a whooping on this Baylor team a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, it's some tough games coming up, and that's why Coach saying that, hey, we got to really come together and band together now. As you heard with Awaka, just saying there, the guys are still trying to, learn each other and really tighten up. He said it's a long season, but, as Coach is saying, it's a long season. It can end early on you if you don't lock in and take care of some of these little things because, again, you don't have as long as you think you have. You have to get some impressive wins here if you want some good seeding.
Let's hear, in fact, we'll go back. Let's hear from the head coach who talked about how this team needs to learn how to stabilize when they are up big in games.
You're playing high-level games now against high-level teams. Like I said, the leads don't exponentially grow. Teams are going to cut back into them. So I think the common theme is your opponents are really good. And you need to respect their opponents. Now you build a lead, so you must be pretty good to build a lead on a good team. Now respect it. How do you handle it? And I don't need the lead to grow from 14 to 20, but I don't need it to go from 14 to 0. That's where we got to get better. I mean, you got to get better possession by possession because they all add up. All these possessions add up. So, it's something we've talked a lot about and worked on. And that's why I was a little bit frustrated. I just didn't think we did a great job seizing the opportunity and seizing the moment. And, hey, it's a teaching moment for us. And you know what? I do love teaching after a win. I will admit that.
We focused on what happened at the end of that game. But, again, like we had mentioned before, they were up 14 in the first half, and Central Florida took that lead down to 0. So that was another, I think that was kind of maybe – exacerbated a little bit what happened at the end of the game when they were up 17 and saw that lead slashed to 9. That had happened twice in one game. Really upset.
I can hear the fans. I can hear them in my ear. They're saying, come on, guys, get off to a better start. Come on, guys, get off to a better start. And then finally they get off to a better start, and they let the other team right back in the game, Kelvin. Because this team has gotten off to some deficits early this season. They had to come back in that first half against some teams. That game, they really got out. They were clicking on all cylinders there early, out to that big lead, let them back in. I think Coach is mostly mad about that close, though. I think Coach is mostly mad about the last 4 minutes, less so about the effort and energy that UCF brought. Every team in this conference, both have to be true at the same time. Every team in this conference is going to challenge you. There's no easy wins anymore in the conference that Arizona's playing in. So you just have to stay focused, Kelvin. You got to make sure you keep your head in the game and just don't let teams think they have a chance to get back into it.
Let's, JW, let's hear from, I want to play that last cut there from Toby Awaka. Let's hear from him talking about whether he thought the team was lackadaisical at times when they build these big leads.
I wouldn't say that. I think that, after those 2 big road wins, complacency is something that you fight against. But I wouldn't say it was necessarily a lack of effort. Probably us not playing our smartest basketball, our techniques on our box outs, like I had mentioned before. So, yeah, I think the guys brought great effort, just, some mental lapses here and there.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anybody talking about effort, guys. Like, effort is not the word I've heard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just staying focused. You're losing track of the idea that every possession matters.
And I'm going to say this. I think it's overrated as well because you got to remember, what was the coach that said he gets paid to make those shots, right? The other teams, those guys are getting paid too. Yeah, the other teams are getting paid too. They're not going to lay down and just let you beat them by 30, especially to that team. That team had just came back from having that happen to them, right? By Kansas, right? So they already know how they feel, and for the coach and all that, I guarantee you, it wasn't just the coach got on them. They all over social media, their families calling in, their uncles, the coaches, like, hey, what you guys doing? So I think that pressure also, you had to know that those guys wasn't going to give in. They were not going to lay down.
And just like, 2 days prior to that game in McHale, they had a 15-point lead up in Tempe, and they let the other team come all the way back and take it into overtime. So they had just been through that, right? Baylor, that's what I'm saying.
All right, let's take a look again at what this game looks like on the big board at the Desert Diamond Casino.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, the Arizona Wildcats tonight are a 5.5-point favorite over the Baylor Bears. The over-under on this one is 147.5. DK still leads. He is +6 in this top play category that we've got going on for men's basketball through 15 games, 18-12. Kelvin Econ 14-16, J-Dub 13-17. So I'll go first tonight, and although we're going to hear that our folks over at the BetQL Network made this one of their top plays tonight, and we'll let you hear what they had to say. But I think that a team like Baylor that is a little bit shorthanded, playing on the second half of a road swing, might have some problems tonight here in Tucson. So I'm going to go with Arizona to cover this 5.5 number this evening against the Bears.
Me personally, I don't think we cover. I think we win the game, but we don't cover. I think it's a little tighter, 4-point game.
4-point game. All right, so you're going to take Baylor and the 5.5.
Yeah, I think they're very similar, the styles of these two teams, what they try to do. With Baylor being a little banged up, I agree with you, DK. I think Arizona wins this game, not by much more than that, but maybe 6 or 7. So I think they cover 5.5, you said?
5.5.
Yeah, I think they cover the 5.5.
Okay, 5.5 given by J-Dub and I. I think that's what we did last time around. No, actually, that's what we did last time around. Kelvin went the other way and got the win on us. So we'll see if that works 2 times in a row for Mr. Efon. Over-under is a little bit lower than it was the other night. It was 154.5. Tonight it is 145.5. So anticipating a defensive game tonight. What do you think on that, Kelvin?
I think it's over. I think both teams are offensively inclined. And I just think it's a big game for Baylor and Arizona. So I think they're going to bring their best.
J-Dub.
What was the number?
It was 145.5.
Over. I think over.
I'm sorry, 147.5, if that makes a difference.
Yeah, I think still over.
All right, yeah, I'm going over on this one too. So J-Dub and I in agreement, U of A -5, the over. Kelvin will take Baylor -5 and the over as well. I think we all took the over last game, and that was the winning play there as well. So we'll see how it all shakes out afterward, and if there's any winning tickets for the best bets from Desert Diamond Casino.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
We are our folks over at BetQL Network. Again, they made this one of their top plays this game. Let's hear what they had to say about how you should play the line in this game tonight.
Stay up late for some Big 12 hoops. I'm Sammy P, here to help you beat the books with BetQL. Baylor heads to Arizona tonight. The Bears a 5.5-point underdog on the road, and the BetQL model backing the dog. BetQL is going Baylor plus 5.5 as a 5-star best bet. I'm Sammy P. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
All right, so they are going with Baylor and the 5.5 points. 5 stars. They don't. That's their best. Those are their best odds on betting. They 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. So if it's a 5-star bet, they have a lot of confidence that Baylor is going to cover that 5.5 number tonight here in Tucson. So, Kelvin, you may be on the right end of that. We'll have to see how that all plays out tonight. All right, much more straight ahead. We're going to chat with Brian Peterson. He'll have your view from courtside. That is next. Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day ahead of tonight's game between the Wildcats and the Bears. Bear down on the Bears, Arizona. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thona Autumn Nation.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Kia, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Kia, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Kia, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Kia, Speedway in Columbus or royalkia.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Make the right choice for your home when it comes to windows and doors. For more than 20 years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot. Best price, biggest inventory.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
And our view from courtside today is going to come from one of the gentlemen who covers your Arizona men's basketball team. For AZ Desert Swarm, it is lead beat writer Brian Peterson. And Brian, what did you make of Tommy Lloyd's explosion after the game on Saturday?
It is funny that it's being described as such a way, because if any other coach, it would just seem like a little bit of griping, but that's about the most upset that I have seen Tommy Lloyd in the 4 seasons that he has been the head coach here. And I think he was trying to send a message to his players that he had already sent them directly, but he wanted to put it out there in the ether that, yes, they won the game, but it was not a good performance, and it was not a performance that is going to click it against teams like Baylor and Texas Tech coming up. So I think he was just really trying to point out that we as a team need to do better if we want to be able to win all of these games, or most of these games in the conference.
Well, in terms of how you're seeing it, Brian, I mean, we've kind of categorized it still that when you're getting these leads and you've still got relatively a bunch of guys who haven't necessarily played with each other. When you factor in that you've got 3 transfers that you're asking to do a lot, you've got a young man who was redshirted last year who, although he's come on, and Henry Vasar is still pretty new to the situation. We've kind of categorized it as that, still a bunch of guys getting to know each other. How have you kind of seen the way maybe they're struggling when they get up in some of these ball games, trying to just ice things away and close it out?
Yeah, I do think that maybe they're skewing a little bit too much to the individualistic side of things rather than sticking to the team plan that got them that lead. And it's almost like I've seen coaches who set up a way where they play not to lose once they get up. And I don't think that's what Tommy's doing, but it feels like almost some of the players are doing that, where they're trying to be overly careful, but then other ones are trying to maybe put in an individual highlight because they're ahead, when it's really not the point and place to do that. Just continue whatever was working to get you up 14 midway through the first half and then 17 midway through the second half. Just keep doing it. It doesn't have to double or triple the lead, as Tommy Lloyd has said, but when you compare it to what the opponent is doing in this desperate nature, if you continue to do your thing and exploit what they're doing wrong, you're going to maintain the lead, if not grow it.
And the other thing I see is that, obviously you've got Caleb Love, and Caleb has been on this level, and he's performed at this level. Like, he's been at the Final Four and performed on that level. But the other thing is, when I go back to, the guys, some of the new guys, I mean, not only are they new to this scheme and this program and Tommy Lloyd, but a lot of those guys, at least, the 2 that you're talking about coming in from mid-majors, are new to really performing at this level in this type of environment every single night. I mean, you don't get this every night in the Horizon League. You don't get this every night in whatever the conference is that Campbell is in. And I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen some struggles with your Anthony Del Orsos and your Trey Townsends, and to an extent Toby Awaka, who wasn't asked to do as much at Tennessee as he's being asked to do this year. They just simply have not done it at this level.
Yeah, and you would hope that wouldn't continue to be an issue, because while there may be some getting used to with the large crowds and the atmosphere and all that, the best players kind of block that out. At the very least, at the most, they feed off it, but that they shouldn't let that atmosphere affect their decisions. I really do think that it's when they get in these scenarios where each player or certain players start thinking, well, I don't trust my teammates, so I'm just going to do it myself. And that was what was maybe happening early in the season. And when they went away from that and really started to work as a group is when they were putting together these leads. I mean, you do have to give credit to opponents as well, especially like that Cincinnati one. That was a lot of Cincinnati's defense forcing things. West Virginia did a little of that. UCF did a little of that. Those teams started to play desperate, and it worked in their favor. UCLA did the same thing as well. And I think Arizona has struggled with dealing with a desperate opponent, and that's when they kind of step away from what has been working.
We're joined by Brian Peterson. He is the senior writer over at AZ Desert Swarm. It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Brian, what has most impressed you about the emergence of Henry Vesar?
I'm very impressed with how well he moves around the court and plays like a guy who is not just entrenched in a spot. He is not the typical 7-footer where he's going to be mashing people inside and posting up and all that. And he's recognized that, and he's made the most of it. His ability to play outside, and even if he only makes one 3-pointer but attempts a couple, I think it stretches the defense so much to the point that they have to guard him. If you watch plays where they have Tobe Awaka out at the top for ball screens and whatnot, and he gets the ball, no one is guarding him because they know he is not going to take that shot or shouldn't take that shot. Whereas with Henry, they have to be aware of that, and it changes what they do. And there have been plays in these last few games where if they don't come out and guard him, he shoots it. If they come out and guard him, he starts to drive and then kicks it out to somebody, or he just drives right to the basket. So that the way he has managed to fit himself into there with his skill set and flourish in that has been very, very impressive, especially with Krivas being out.
Baylor Bears tonight. Last time they came to town, they dominated on the offensive glass, kind of like what we saw from Central Florida the other night, only they had a few more and walked out of here with a 19-point win. Scott Drew's teams have always been very good at the offensive end and getting second and third chances for themselves. What do you think the Wildcats have to do to win this game tonight?
I mean, the rebounding is going to be a huge part of it. After the game, Tobe Awaka pointed out that the UCF approach of taking a lot of threes led to some weird bounces and all that for some of those offensive rebounds. But I think that was only maybe 8 of the 20 offensive rebounds. The rest were off short jumpers or layups or missed free throws.
Right.
So the rebounding overall was just bad, and I'm sure that they've heavily addressed that. And Baylor, a lot of their offense is around that. They average more than 14 points a game on second chance points. So while the Bears are looking for a good first shot, they also know that they can get an even better second shot based on the way that they rotate and they box out and all that. I think Arizona just, hopefully these last 2 days, they've spent a lot of time on being able to figure out, making sure everyone's in the right way. And I think that was probably one of the areas where Tommy Lloyd was calling out players more than anything, is that there are certain guys who are playing a lot of minutes who are not doing all the things that they should be doing out there. And being able to rebound is a big part of it. The rebound and certain defensive things that could lead to some changes in the minutes or rotation tonight.
It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser is serving Arizona now for more than 25 years. Brian Peterson, our guest, AZ Desert Swarm. They cover all things Arizona Wildcats athletics. And Brian, I guess when you look at this team and this conference, as you've I know you're kind of a big analytics guy. You seem to always have a stat or something of that nature. Do you have one right now that stands out about Arizona basketball?
Well, I think it mostly would fit with who they've played to this point. The 4 opponents that they've played are a combined, I believe, 7-9 in the conference, West Virginia being 3-1, and then a couple 2-2 teams. And then Cincinnati is winless right now, which is surprising to everyone considering that they had been ranked and there was a lot of expectation from that. But on Ken Pomeroy's website, that is a big analytical one, he has Arizona rated as having played the easiest schedule so far in the Big 12 when you look at the opponents. Though West Virginia is 3-1, they weren't one of the highest rated teams going into the conference play. They were probably the second tier. So Arizona hasn't played any of the Big Six, if you include them. Tonight will be the first one with Baylor, but they have another one against Baylor. They still have 2 with Iowa State. They have 2 with Texas Tech, including on the road at Lubbock on Saturday, plus single games with Houston and Kansas. So while the 4-0 start is great for building momentum, especially after the non-conference, they haven't faced the meat of the schedule yet. And so I think that is something to really watch. Then again, neither is Houston. Houston hasn't played anybody of significance. They play West Virginia on Wednesday. Iowa State has had one tough game where they went, actually 2. They beat Baylor at home, and then they escaped at Texas Tech the other day. And Kansas hasn't really played the toughest schedule. So the best teams in the league haven't really started meshing against each other yet. So much can still happen.
Brian also covers heavily Arizona football. Some moves there recently. Joe Salavea back in the family as associate head coach and defensive line coach. Danny Gonzalez promoted from the linebackers coach position to the defensive coordinator. A lot of guys coming in from the portal. Again, it's hard to figure out like how talented these players are. They're getting in. Obviously, we saw Luke Weissong from New Mexico, so we know what he can do. That's an intriguing piece at wide receiver. I like Trey Spivey, obviously, on the offensive side, coming over from Kansas State. But again, if you're looking at the overall rankings, maybe not very high for this class, but how have you assessed the offseason so far, from everything from the coaching hires and fires to the players coming in and leaving?
The way I've been describing is they're making the best out of a bad situation, which is one where you really need to retool the roster when you look at players who've left and graduated, turned pro, and all that. And so much has been pointed out about the disappointment of 2024, and rightfully so, especially with the talent that was on that roster. But I wonder sometimes the dynamic of someone inheriting a roster, and particularly a talented one, and being expected to do the exact same, if not better than what a previous coach did, and how difficult that can be compared to inheriting a team that had struggled and managing to do better with what someone else didn't do as well. And a great example of that would be what Tommy Lloyd did with the players he inherited from Sean Miller. It wasn't that they weren't talented, they just they weren't doing anything successful, and he managed to take 3 guys who ended up going into the NBA and getting the most out of them. This roster that Arizona football is putting together is one that these coaches, particularly Brent Brennan and the ones that have been retained from last year, Danny Gonzalez especially, since he was handling most of the defensive recruiting here in the portal. These are players they want, that they believe fit into what they're doing. And I think this is a better assessment, that this season would be a better assessment of what these coaches can do, because these are the players they want rather than the ones they were given. I don't know if everyone agrees with that, but I just see it as yes, you had T-Mac and Noah Fafita and all these guys, but just because you inherit good players, if your coaching style is different than what they're used to, and that they didn't choose to be part of this new thing, I know they stuck around, but it was still like they were giving some, we're going to give you some leeway here, and it hasn't worked out, and that's why a lot of them have moved on. But the guys that are here now, particularly the ones that are brought in, they believe that these are the right coaches and the right system for them.
Yeah, the one thing I kind of said was I thought that I thought a good model to follow was the Jacob Cowing model. Go get guys, if you're going to go and get guys from the FCS level and Group of 5 level, get guys who have dominated there and put up numbers. And it seems like that's what they've been able to do. They've been able to get a number of guys who have been very successful in FCS and in Group of 5, and now you'd like to see those guys come up and be able to make a jump like a Jacob Cowing did here, coming from UTEP where he was a star, and assimilating into the system here and parlaying that into an opportunity in the National Football League. That's what you would hope the cycle would be for a school like Arizona.
Oh, certainly. And I mean, Cowing is a great example, and so is Tanner McLaughlin. Two of the three most productive guys that Arizona picked up out of the portal were ones that came from a Group of 5 school like UTEP, who was a dominant, and then Tanner McLaughlin was at Southern Utah, an FCS school, who was a walk-on there, who walked on at Arizona while recovering from an ACL, and they developed him into arguably the most productive tight end that in school history, just from overall production. And that's a matter of, like, you can't judge people on where they played before coming to the next school, because heck, even Ohio State picked up a running back from Duquesne.
Yeah.
USC picked up a junior college running back. I mean, these schools are looking based on what they think these guys can do. You're going to find diamonds in the rough in small schools. What used to happen is these guys, they didn't transfer. They just suddenly popped up in the draft. And you're like, wait, who is this guy, Tony Romo, that was at Eastern Illinois?
Right.
Yes. Nowadays, that guy ends up at a power conference school before going into the draft. It's the same exact thing. These guys exist away from the 50 big schools in the main conference.
Yeah, well, that's that's the most fascinating thing about this new world, and I just I've said it before. I'll point to Cam Ward. You know, incarnate Word to Miami to probably the first round. I mean, that's the way we're going to begin to see this transpire in this new era of guys that maybe aren't at that high. And we talked yesterday about, Levi Wallace. You can kind of put him older school in that category, a guy who had no offers coming out of Tucson High, who was able to parlay that into playing for a national champion at Alabama, walking on starting, and then 7 years, whatever it is now, in the National Football League. There's going to be, I think we're going to see a lot more guys like that moving forward. Brian, I always appreciate your time, and look forward to chatting with you again as we continue this new road down the Big 12.
Thanks for having me.
That is Brian Peterson from AZ Desert Swarm, and that is your view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Go Wildcats! As a new season starts, the Tucson Police Department bears down with the Tucson community.
We're looking to build our team, and we need you. Interested in joining our starting lineup? Visit jointucsonpd.org. Join our team and score a great career. From our commissioned officers to our professional staff, the Tucson Police Department proudly stands behind the Arizona Wildcats. Bear down and apply today at jointucsonpd.org.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Rightway is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 five-star Google reviews, you can trust Rightway to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Rightway today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Works it down to the right side, drives baseline. Going for Basar, and he's there and slams it home.
Similar play as we saw earlier where Arizona's guard just threw it up top to Basar.
Wildcats and the Baylor Bears tonight at McHale Center. Final segment of our show before we hand you off to the network. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour, 8:30. Ryan Hansen, Brian Jeffries, the voice of the Wildcats. Tip-off straight ahead at 9 o'clock at McHale Center. What was the term? Pac-12 after dark, Big 12 after dark. Is that trending at all? Are we calling it that now? Big 12 after dark when we have these
that kind of started
games,
not because of the time of the games, but because of the craziness of the games.
Yeah.
Like you would have like a 46-45 triple overtime game that ended at 2 a.m. and that's where the after dark labeling came from. So we'll see. I mean, they just got done with an overtime game, so anything could happen.
There actually is a looks like this is a show, though. There is a actual show called Big 12 After Dark, apparently a podcast. Somebody tweeted Big 12 After Dark as it relates to the other game happening tonight at 9 o'clock up the street in Tempe. Yeah, there you go. Big 12 After Dark. Welcome to our new world here. Kind of a little bit like our old world, for sure. Jaden Bradley comes into tonight's game for your Arizona Wildcats. Again, they've won 6 in a row, have the Wildcats. Over that stretch, Jaden, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, while shooting 50% from the floor, Jaden Bradley. He talks about the Wildcats having to have the mindset that it takes an entire 40 minutes to win a game in this Big 12 conference.
It's not going to be easy for us, with different, injuries and different lineups. So, we got to adjust and, find ways, to win games, whether that's on the defensive end, getting stops, if a shot's not falling. So, we got to really work and for full 40 minutes, to get wins.
And I've talked about the three-point defense. Remember, that was a real big issue for this club early in the season. Well, it has not been as big an issue lately. The Wildcats have really been clamping down, especially during this win streak. Wildcat opponents are shooting just 28% from behind the arc. Tommy Lloyd liking that aspect of his defense.
I think overall our defense it's there. It's right there. With TCU, we didn't have a great stretch.
I mean, we're finding when we take care of the ball and we don't give runouts, our defense is pretty good in the half court, and then obviously rebound. I mean, we're no different than any other team. And the threes come. I mean, these teams have good shooters, and I'm sure we'll go back and watch. Number 10 hits 2 threes. We're probably living with that. 13 hasn't made a 3 in a minute. He shot it great in the Bahamas. He makes 2 threes. I don't know. We're living. 11 only makes 1 3. We didn't want him to make threes. And Small made, obviously 3 of 9. And he made a couple. I mean, I think I would look at some of our coverage, and they could have been a little bit better on him, but he's a heck of a player. I mean, those are great shots.
Yeah, DK, we're actually talking about 2 different things here. Early in the season, it was really the coverage, Kelvin. They were really not understanding individually where the responsibilities were on the scramble, and that led to a lot of wide open, especially corner threes. Those first 5-6 games, we saw some of the younger guys, or maybe some of the new guys, not recognizing when it was their turn, Kelvin, to get out on those shooters. More recently, what we've talked about a lot is those guys who are, 2 for 38, and they get an open 3, that's fine. That's in the scout. You're going to say, let that guy take that shot. He has yet to prove that he could knock it down. If a guy who's shooting 25% from 3 hits 2 in a row, you live with that. But it's really those guys on the scout that are shooters. You want to make sure that you're always got a hand in their face.
Yeah, and I also think, you don't want to pat yourself on the back too fast because you haven't really been facing great shooters, right? And so, as a coach, you have to watch it a little bit. You want to take the credit of the improvement in the stats, but at the same time, you want to be realistic that you haven't faced those teams that really not, that have great percentages of knocking down the 3 ball.
When you look at this Baylor club, of course, they are a team that, again, a very good offensive team for Baylor, but one thing they are struggling with, at least in Big 12 play, is shooting the ball from behind the arc. They enter this game knocking down just 30% of their shots from behind the three-point arc in conference play. That is a 6% drop to what they were doing in the non-conference. So it'll be interesting to see, again, they're playing a little bit shorthanded, missing some guards, how that affects their ability to potentially shoot the ball behind the arc tonight. Let's dive into what we think the Wildcats need to do to win this evening.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, keys to a Wildcat victory. I think it's going to, one of the things is going to be just what I mentioned there. Continue to defend the three-point line, which is something the Wildcats have been doing very well, and don't allow the Bears to get untracked to start. They've not done well in conference play, as we just said, so don't let that start tonight for Arizona. Also, deny the walking double-double a double-double. How about that? Let's keep Norshawn Omier in single digits. Either I prefer the single digits be in rebounds versus in points, but I'll take either or. Deny Norchand Omier a double-double. Also, got to play smart. Less than 3 sloppy turnovers. Okay, I get that turnovers are going to happen in a basketball game, but I'm just about almost had it with some of these sloppy turnovers that we're seeing. Stepping out of bounds, trying to throw the ball through 10 people in the lane, those types of turnovers. Don't want to see that continue. And also, I think the ultimate thing in this game is whoever wins on that offensive glass, because both these teams can do that, is likely going to win tonight. Kelvin.
I think that we should try to push the ball and take advantage of their short bench. ASU had 22 points in fast break points. Baylor only had 4, so they're not really pushing the break. A lot of time when you don't have that many guys, you walk the ball up and try to execute a play. So I think that's a little bit of what's going on why they had a short bench. So I think we need to push the ball and try to get some easy scores. Get the ball into our bigs early because they're not very deep at the big. If you can get their bigs in foul trouble, you can stop them from getting that double-double that you're talking about. So go into our bigs and get them in foul trouble, get them tired. And then lastly, box out. I think we have to have all 5 guys boxing out and securing the rebound every possession before we leak out and break out and try to get those fast breaks. All 5 guys have to check and rebound.
Yeah, I got some similar stuff over here. Number one for me is what you just said, Kelvin. You got to go establish the post because of their shorthanded nature, and it really just opens up so much for the driving lanes. It's really the key strength of this Arizona offense is those guards getting in the paint and doing damage. So establish Awaka and Townsend early, especially on the block, open up those lanes. And I'd like to see them dominate the boards on this against this Baylor team. Dominate meaning +5, maybe +10 at most, because that's what Coach Drew's teams do. They rebound the ball. Guards put the ball up. They got some really active bigs. They always do every single year. This is no exception. So you really got to establish that is a strength of this Arizona team that they did not show against the Knights. You really got to make sure that they understand that every loose ball, max effort, going after rebounds. And like both you guys said, Baylor's always been a very handsy team. They're not necessarily jumping the passing lane too much this year with their shorthandedness, especially with the injuries. But you really have to make sure that you're strong with the ball. Typical, move the ball around, fake a pass, make a pass. 20-plus assists. We'd love to see that. And like DK said, just the dumb, unforced errors, unnecessary errors, especially if you get a lead late in the game. Just take care of the ball. Make sure that you do what you did in practice this week. And those are my keys tonight versus Baylor.
Stay up. Don't fall down tonight. That's another key.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, Arizona and Baylor is coming up. I'll give you your starting lineup for tonight's game for the Wildcats.
The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
3-guard play, Jaden Bradley, 6'3", 200-pound junior out of Rochester, New York, by way of Alabama. Jaden on the season averaging 12 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game. Caleb Love, 6'4", 50-year guard out of St. Louis, Missouri, by way of North Carolina. Leading scorer on this team, Caleb, averaging 16 points per ball game, 5 rebounds, while dishing out 3 assists. Preseason All-American AP is Caleb Love. Anthony Del Orso, 6'6", 190-pound junior out of Melbourne, Australia, by way of Campbell University. Anthony will be making his 7th start of the season tonight since being inserted into the lineup. He is averaging 10 points. He is shooting a team-high 44% from behind the 3-point line. Trey Townsend at 1 forward. Trey, 6'6", 235-pound forward out of Oxford, Michigan, by way of Oakland University of Michigan. Trey is averaging 10 points and 4 rebounds per contest. And Toby Awaka is the other forward, 6'8", 250-pound junior forward out of Hyde Park, New York, by way of Tennessee. 8 points and 7 rebounds for Toby Awaka. Tommy Lloyd is your head coach, sitting on 98 wins in his tenure here at the University of Arizona, which means 2 more gets him to 100. 99 could come tonight. 98 and 25 in his 4th season here with the Wildcats. He has been one of the most successful coaches over the course of the last 4 years in college basketball. Guys, final thoughts on this game before we get to it.
Well, I'm excited to see, Baylor to me is the real start of, seeing some tough competition. We had some other ranked opponents that we play, but, Baylor has the type of athletes. They don't have the depth, but they have the type of athletes that could give us problems. So I'm excited to see this game, to see how we perform against those type of guys.
Yeah, same. I think no disrespect to Texas Christian or UCF, but Baylor, Houston, Kansas, Iowa State, these are the kind of names that we think of when we go in the Big 12, and really looking forward to seeing Baylor in the building tonight. It's the start. I mean, we are obviously 4 games in already, but the big names are coming, and Arizona fans better make a lot of noise tonight because despite the fact that it's a late game, DK, they're going to need that Arizona crowd behind them because that's a hungry Baylor team coming in. Maybe their season hasn't gone the way they thought it should have so far as well. So make sure you stand up, make some noise, and go Cats.
Well, it's interesting because somebody told me that went to the game on Saturday that they felt like the juice was back in the building. And I thought that was interesting because it was Central Florida. It was a team that we've never played before, have no history with. But they felt like when Arizona got going, it got loud inside of that building. Of course, and the students still are not there. I think the first student game will be on the next homestand. But, yeah, they felt like it got loud there. That's good. That's going to wrap up our coverage here for the pregame show. Thanks to J.W. Madden. Thanks to Kelvin Ifan. My name is David Kelly. Coming up next, it is Arizona and Baylor. Bear down. Arizona. We'll talk to you afterward on the post.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy.